The International Day 2 of 2015 kicks off with a big game. EG versus compLexity Gaming.
And the draft is going to be a very big part of that first series and or first match, that's for sure. PPD is very known. He's known as a very good drafter, and he adapts very well to the teams he faces. And he probably prepared for that one, so it's going to be very interesting to understand, like to share his point of view about compLexity.
It's going to be a huge challenge as well for compLexity to actually outdraft and outthink a team like EG.
Yeah.
That rarely ever happens to them.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a really tough first drafting match for SwindleMelon.
Yeah, Fly does have a lot of experience as a drafter as well, though, so he brings a lot of quality there to SwindleMelon as well, so they can definitely talk between each other. But as you said, PPD, very revered and like respected captain. If I was to name one captain that I respect the most, probably Xiao8, but after that, Puppy and PPD are definitely the second and third.
Sounds a little loud, though.
We'll see what he can do in this game.
Just on the
first grab the Naga.
We're going to see a lot of Naga Siren today. She's going to be first banned or first picked in every single one of these EG and Secret games today.
Yeah, it's pretty standard. Like, ever since the group stage, we've just seen how strong she can be from the support role, particularly. Queen and Tusk, just reliable heroes. Tusk doesn't have like an extreme win rate or anything, but I think this is one of those heroes where stats doesn't really tell the full tale, because a lot of different teams are picking it, but they have different success with it as well. But the teams that know how to use it well, they will make it happen, so to say. And combining it with Queen, you have two really strong early gamers.
This draft opening really looks like what we saw yesterday from LGD and Empire. You know, Tusk, Coop, Naga being contested. The Lina is a bit different. EG, they play Lina at all, like they play Lina on AOI, position 4, that turns into a farming, you know, sort of a core. They play Lina on Sumail, they play Lina on Pia as well. So it's very hard to predict how they're gonna play that Lina. Especially because Naga and Lina are, it's a good support duo.
If I'm PPD though, I'm trying to really concentrate on that mid matchup. Give Sumail a good matchup versus Sumail, and I think this Lina Queen of Pain is going to be very difficult for Swindle to deal with in a one-on-one situation. And I'm curious to see how compLexity is going to handle it, because I think EG like, okay, we'll leave you mid alone, and Sumail is probably going to go crazy with Lina, as it usually does. And I think it's also very important that they took it in the first phase, because there's not that many other heroes that give Queen of Pain a hard time.
No, like Lina's long range and how she doesn't even have that high of a mana cost on her nuke. She can just really bring down Queen of Pain's HP so much that even if you get early bottle, you can't really regenerate that much.
I think it's, you know, it's safe to say that Sumail is a better mechanical player than the SwindleMelons in the one-on-one matchup.
Swindle accepts that as well.
Yeah, he accepts it as well. And he's the captain and he's drafting, so he knows his weaknesses compared to other players. So I'm pretty sure I would be surprised to see Coop mid, just because EG usually focuses a lot on the mid lane, and you don't want to win that mid lane. It's, you know, you're trying too hard. I think they can do better at the overall game plan, and that's how compLexity wins. So I think it could be a Coop safely, and they just sack the mid lane a bit.
What hero do you think is best to sack the mid lane? Is it like going to be a Viper or something?
Something like this, even a DK or something. You know, they just transition into pushing, playing aggressively after. He just gets his level 6, moves with the team. He doesn't have to do so much on the mid lane, just XP, get the bottle crow, get some creeps here and there.
I agree sort of with sacking the mid lane, but I got kind of traumatized yesterday from the Lina versus DK, so I would rather not see that get picked after seeing how Shiki played that so well, even without a courier.
Yeah, it was really tough for the DK for sure.
But we see Techie being respect banned here. As soon as Tusk is picked in first phase, you have to look towards that hero. It can come out as a surprise, or rather, it's such a strong combo that it's no longer a surprise to see it.
And both those teams were Techie speakers during the group stage. It was mainly Secret, compLexity, and EG.
Yeah, compLexity is one of the few teams that have won against the combination of Tusk and Techie as well. Before TI, they were the only team to have done so. Of course, wasn't picked that often.
So now we're looking for the last ban of the second phase for compLexity. It's interesting when you get to do this, because you can ban a hero into picking another one, so you're denying 2 heroes from the other team, basically. So that's one of the draft advantages the second pick has over the first pick. There aren't many, but that's one of those. Because you always consider first pick better than second pick, unless you have something in mind, in the sense that you get the first pick first of all, and you also get to close a draft. You know, you have the 5-man lineup, you see it, and then you can adapt with your last pick.
They've been utilizing Dazzle a lot, and I think it'd be a nice pick to take away from the Naga Siren, so EG don't have that to fall back on in case things go poorly in the laning phase.
Yeah, they did get rid of that, and Naga Siren would be so strong together with Dazzle, and just the way that, you know, every team shows, if you can just sustain after the fights and push, that's when things really start falling apart, because towers are falling right and left. So taking away Dazzle kind of limits that.
We also saw like a nasty Spirit Breaker plus Darkseer combo. I think it just straight up won them a couple of games. They just Ion Shell the Spirit Breaker when he's charging in, and there's so much damage. Even if the Spirit Breaker is under leveled, he can still kill people.
It's funny, that's such a pub combo.
It is, but it worked.
I mean, you have to do it when the opponent has somewhat weaker support, so you can actually take advantage of Spirit Breaker being able to solo kill off the supports.
So it is going to be a Tusk support, most likely, unless it's something very special. But I mean, since they picked the Clockwork, we haven't seen so many Tusk supports. We've seen one from Empire, and I think that's all.
I don't think it has had that good of a success either. We saw it some in the group stage, and none of the games that I was casting it was very impressive. But we'll see what you can do. It's a very good hero against Lina, at least. You can always save your teammates quite easily. Same against Naga if they get ensnared. So it's a decent hero. They have hard to kill heroes on compLexity. Queen with her blink away, the snowball is available, and of course Clockwork has multiple different mechanics.
I mean, as Tusk, as a hero, he needs, sometimes he needs more. That's why you generally don't give him a support position, because he needs his items, and more importantly, he needs the levels to be useful.
Definitely.
So putting him into the support position, you definitely have to find time to give him a lane, like how you give AA a lane, priority to get his level 6, especially.
Yeah, if he gets some items as well, it's just he makes so much happen with just one more item, you know? If he can get the Desolator, if he can get the Solar Crest, if he can get the Blink Dagger, any of these items.
He's just very versatile. He can get most of the items, and depending on situation, what works best for the team and what counteracts the opponent's lineup more.
Definitely, he can customize to any game. EG taking plenty of time to think about this as they're going up against the Clockwork. Now is when they have the time to really read into what compLexity want to do here. It doesn't really look like much of a push strat. It looks completely oriented around fighting from compLexity's team. I wonder what type of carry they want to run with this.
To me, it really feels like a co-op safe lane. I mean, I'm not sure about it, obviously, but I feel like it could be a very good way for them to play and to react to EG's aggression. I think co-op safe lane is very solid. Also, like this, your Tusk can just roam around, do whatever, and eventually the co-op will move from the lane, because you, as a co-op, when you get level 6 or even 7, that's better, you want to be ready to TP, you know, and just back up people.
Yeah, but I actually think when you have Tusk support and Clockwork as your off lane, you need more firepower from your cores, and if you go co-op safe lane, you need a hero at mid which does a lot of physical damage, and at this point, there's no Shadowfiend, and the other one that comes to mind is just Templar Assassin. There's not many options that actually balances the draft.
What do you mean, just Templar Assassin? Come on, man. That's the hero. Go for it. No, I completely agree with your point, because, as you say, Queen of Pain, she brings a lot of damage from the safe lane, can definitely gank really strong, but she does fade off in terms of carry potential later on, no matter how you itemize her. We see compLexity huddle up around Swindle. Looks pretty happy while drafting. Oh, they're actually going for Chen?
That's a hero I missed a lot. We haven't seen it almost from during the whole tournament. I think it's a hero that has a lot of potential. Alright, anti-mage. They don't have the best catch, and people usually punish that with an anti-mage pick. Co-op can build into an Orchid, and the Tusk can build into a Dagger, and then it's actually easier for them to catch the anti-mage, but it's not gonna be the easiest game. But it's also a risky pick, you know. You pick anti-mage, and they just pick the Chen, which means they have pushing potential.
Definitely.
But isn't it risky? If you go for a very early timing push, and Sand King, if he has a dagger, one fight, the Chen's rhythm of the game is just over.
Yep,
it's
definitely. They have a lot of burst damage.
It's very risky, going Chen into the Sand King in that sense. But at the same time, the early few minutes, Sand King will be mostly concentrating on getting a dagger, and Chen will be much stronger at that phase. But after that, Chen has to be very careful with picking the fights.
I mean, they even have a combination. They have Naga Siren. If they stack up and Sand King doesn't have a Blink Dagger, you can still just walk in, start channeling ulti, and they release the song. So they can get caught out for sure, but Anti-Mage does put more pressure on compLexity to add some push into their lineup right now.
They need like a very pushing type of core. Like a Luna might be one good example of core that actually does that, like a faster timing window compared to what Anti-Mage has.
Yeah, I really think they can get away with a DK pick. I think it's a perfect fit for the lineup.
Yeah, I think Dragon Knight as well would be good. Then
it's reliable disables. It won't matter so much to lose mid lane. It's a push. It's pushing power. It's the tanky hero that's gonna go in the front and tank damage. I think it's really what they need right now.
They also have Chen, who can so easily make rotations towards the mid lane. Yeah, exactly. And if you can win the mid lane for DK, he does a lot for your team.
Do you think at this point it's not even a point to even try and outlate game Evil Genius?
No, I don't think so.
Just
like,
all in.
They have so much team fight and like one of the best late gamers in.
I mean, at this point, it's only what, DK, Luna, or Pugna, I would say.
I think Pugna could work as well, but it's a bit scary.
Oh,
it's interesting.
Well, they played this. This is kind of interesting because this is something that EG did themselves at ESL, for example, playing the links against the AM. Now EG are going to be the ones handling the AM against compLexity. So kind of taking a note out of their own drafting here.
Yeah, they really don't have any catch for Anti-Mage as the game proceeds.
Yeah, it's a really great last pick against the Klings. Having the Wyvern and against the Chen, the Splinter Bus as well. I think the last pick that PPD chose for himself was one of the best out of the situation.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. Draft is completed. Heroes have been selected. It's time for game one of Evil Geniuses versus compLexity as we head on down to the commentary team.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's time to get underway for a game which could either divide or unite this American crowd. compLexity going up against Evil Geniuses. I'm Toby One here with Cinder and once again, man, we get to start the day.
Yeah, this is going to be an absolutely crazy game. The crowd is wild already. We haven't started
yet. Wait until this game begins, because we've got amazing drafts from both compLexity as well as EG. EG, I'm loving this combination of both gank as well as team fight into the good carry of EG's like EG Fear Anti-Mage, and then compLexity, you come up with what initially looked like a ganking lineup, and then we see the Chen arrive, not a hero which normally visits our Dota world currently.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of game where compLexity are going in with a lot of confidence based on their draft. They definitely believe that they can put pressure on EG early and try to end the game before it's too late. Because you generally don't really want to go into the late game against something like a Naga plus AM. Of course, it's more than likely to be a support Naga in the hands of AUI 2000, but when the game goes long enough, he is known to get quite a bit of harm on his supports. So it's interesting to see compLexity going for a little bit of a timing push with also the Clink's pick good at bringing down buildings, good at targeting out AM with the high physical damage. And I think a big part of the Chen pick, as the panel pointed out, is to give coL.Melonzz a bit of an advantage in mid. Super early, you can just send in like a Tornado Creep or a Chain Lightning Harpy or something like that to put a little bit of pressure in the start on Sumail in the mid lane matchup. And well, from experience, I do believe, as they also pointed out, Swindle is the underdog in this mid one-on-one matchup. I think he has been destroyed before by Sumail. Very, very aggressive and talented mid laner. So I like the idea a lot from compLexity. As far as ease of execution, I think they have to play their absolute A game to win the game with this draft. And that's also the kind of that's the way you want to enter into the series. You have to be confident. You have to believe in yourself and being able to pull something like this off. EG, in a way, more safe, it feels like.
Yeah, well, because you're always going to have that Anti-Mage to fall back on. And this is like almost the point I want to go on something you were saying. You were talking like you bring in a Harpy, you bring in something to affect the middle lane to give coL.Melonzz the upper hand when it comes up against going up against the boy wonder Sumail. Then you pick up something like a Chen, so you can't get multiple creeps early on, with something more like an Enchantress actually play into that role. Because for Chen, if he can't get back out to the jungle, he's only going to be a hand of God and maybe a test of faith, and not much more than that. Where EG, even, they were running Enchantress as a core offlaner. They were showing the purposes of this later game jungle hero.
And I think the reason compLexity also went for the Chen this time around is that they saw the Sand King from EG. And that generally, to have a major impact with Sand King, of course, actually in this case it is a universe offlane Sand King, but they might have thought it was a support Sand King at the time for AUI, although they had picked now, I'm not sure what they were expecting. I guess most of the time these days EG actually do play it in universe, but I think we have seen AUI play at this tournament as well. But regardless of the read, you know, what I was thinking is, no matter what, whether it's you think of Naga as a support or Sanking as a support, it opens up for Chen, because they're not very good at the super early aggression in the enemy jungle, and they don't really want to go there so much. So there should be space available here for Z.freeK.
Looks like compLexity. They're going to have their jungle challenged. Evil Genius as they're going to send their entire team down south to move into this Radiant jungle and look for the early warding. As compLexity, they just leave one observer ward to watch around the bottom river. So they'll see if EG at least walk down here and when they leave. SwindleMelonzz also moving into a good position where he'll see the Naga. That's the first contact they've seen. And in fact, he'll see 4 other heroes right there and back it up deeper into their jungle. There's no way they want to get caught out. Aoi actually doesn't have the catch. He went for Riptide instead, cuts through the tree line and sentry wards down. They're here to contest the Chen.
How many? They have 1 sentry on Chen and 1 on Tusk here for compLexity. So, well, maybe be able to at least find one of these wards. I think the main one is the one that both spots the bottom rune as well as blocks the big camp inside the Radiant jungle. That is definitely a very common ward that I do believe Z.freeK will find. It's very important to remove that.
The contest for the bounty rune. Sumail wants it, but Clink steals it from directly underneath his nose. At the same time, Moonmeander, he did a real great position, making sure the Anti-Mage had no intention of just walking up and taking that top rune. So compLexity secure both the bounty runes at the start of the game.
Yeah, this is a very good start for them. And there goes the sentry to Chen. Looks like Fly will start out a little bit here in the mid lane to give, once again, focus on giving SwindleMelonzz a good start. Or actually, maybe it looks like he's leaving, but Moonmeander will be alone in the top lane with his Clockwork here, starting with the Ring of Protection rather than a Stout Shield. I'm not sure what the most common build is nowadays. I feel like most of the time we see Stout Shield, but of course this makes for a faster Tranquil Boots build-up if that's what he wants. And in the safe lane for compLexity, it is going to be the Clinks.
How is he meant to deal with this lane?
Yeah, that is not an easy lane for him to deal with, actually.
Especially when now he's going to get in his face with Riptide all the time. Because almost like right now he's just sitting there soaking up experience, but not really contesting anything. And when he does, Aoi's all over him, pushing him back. And down to a point where he's only got enough mana for 1 more Skeleton Walk.
He's going to get a little bit of support here from Fly now. But of course, one of the big advantages for... Oh, okay, we've got some time to talk about that. One of the big advantages for a support Naga in this situation is she has 5 base armor and a Stout Shield, which Clinks' damage output is strictly physical, so she can actually sustain, and the Sand King also here with the Ring of Protection now also 5 armor. So between Tusk and Clinks, finding a kill on this lane is going to be very difficult. Both of them are also good at disengaging. Naga can use Mirror Image or an Ensnare, sinking a Sandstorm. Well, Chen's ganking potential is kind of non-existent so far because his big camps have both been blocked. He has countered one of them now, so he is able to get that. That's the one I was talking about he needed to find, which he did. But he had to wait for minute 1 to see that it was actually blocked. Or, yeah, I'm guessing his rotation just came in a little late. Of course, he could know at 30 seconds, but...
So I ask you this question then. With the Chen, do you try and keep him inside the jungle, get control of your jungle back again, just start stacking, farming up, wait for a Wild Wing, and then push? Or does Chen need to have more of a presence in the lane? Because the more we were talking about bottom lane, where the Clinks and the Tusk are together, the more it was looking like, well, EG can just sit there, they'll safely farm up, Universe won't be pressured, he'll get a Blink Dagger, you'll see his timing coming in, Sumail, there needs to be more pressure on him to make sure the lane doesn't get any kind of momentum, and we keep talking about the mid and the bottom lane, then there's Fear, playing the Anti-Mage on the top lane. Clockwork could try and have a crack at something there, but Fear just needs a little bit of space and looks to be created by the rest of his team in the lanes.
I think as Chen right now, the one lane you absolutely leave alone is top. Like, your chance at accomplishing anything up there is pretty much non-existent. Fear will just blink, and should you get an incredible opener with some creeps, you could just call them chase, and he should be fine, just blink out afterwards. So it's a very unlikely lane to have any impact on. I think for now, perhaps the
bottom lane, this is going to be Clinks, so low down to 56 life. Aoi just made the play for it, but now you've also got the Saturn Mind Stealer down here, and Aoi's completely out of mana. You'll have to trigger that clarity and back off for the moment.
Cast range of that mana burn is actually pretty high, so Universe needs to be careful not to get burnt here as well in a few seconds, as it is standing back right now. Now it's going to move forward and go for the burn. Not going to get in range as it looks, but it's just zoning him out very well right now.
Top lane as well, Moonmeander, this could be the first blood. Back under the tower, one more attack, they need it, but PPD unable to reach it. The Arctic Burn wears off, and he couldn't have a crack.
But I'm actually really surprised Moonmeander is going in for this again. I think going for, well, technically, he can go for a little bit of experience for the next like 20 seconds, but the moment that Arctic Burn is up again, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. They will be zoning him out.
He's trying to make the most out of it, but Fear, with no mana on this Clockwork, and it's a while before he might even get something like a bottle for the offlane. Like, how do you even get close up against the enemy? He just blinks forward and mana burns you off.
I think Moonmeander in this kind of situation should focus more on cogging in creeps so that Fear pushes, and then try to go for maybe a side pull, being Radiant offlane. That is a play he can go for. But
Fly, shards, nicely done, locking Sumail in. The Light Striker Ray dodged by the Snowball of Fly. This should be the death of Sumail, and compLexity spill the first blood.
Moonmeander just casually walks by and gets level 3. Thanks, guys. Heads back to base, as it looks.
Perfect time to be in the neighborhood. Pick up some BT, some boots.
Yeah, if he had BOTs, that would be really good.
That would be amazing, but he doesn't. That's too much money. But that's a great movement for compLexity. They get the Invis rune. Sumail gets caught out by it. You still have Anti-Mage looking really good on the CS, and Universe also almost level with the Anti-Mage. And Clinks, he's found a little bit, but this is not the momentum you'd really look for from a Clinks.
Radiant's top tower.
And as far as the Chen goes, he's going to be the talking point in this game because it is a very momentum-driven hero. EG were very successful with their one sentry. The one blocking the bottom leftmost Radiant camp was actually not found until just now when the sentry...
Keep your eyes on middle. Fly, there's your snowball in, going after Sumail, and she snowballs in the troll creep so they can get the instant trap again onto Sumail. Swindlemelonzz being involved, but Tusker the man to find the last hit. This movement from compLexity early on is wonderful.
Mid lane.
Yeah, they shut down Sumail.
So what's the trade-off here? They're shutting down Sumail. Chen is only level 2.5 minute 4, where if you're just free farming with Chen and don't get contested at all, you could be like level 4 on the way to level 5 even with good stacks and a tornado creep. But he's involved early, trying to help out both bot and mid. The trade-off for EG is they're running a 2-1-2 where both of their side lanes are getting farmed. So I think EG are okay with the current state of events, but of course they need to make sure this mid lane doesn't get absolutely run over. So finally now PPD will be rotating in. And to be honest, I'm actually surprised he hasn't been TPing earlier. He could have just had a TP and coL embraced up the mid lane a couple of times here to try to help out Sumail.
Potentially, but he had no money. Like, PPD only just buys a new set of tangos as well as Observer Ward, but he's got no money on this Wyvern at all.
He's been spending the majority of his time in the top lane just attacking Moonmeander and trying to zone him out. Has been pretty successful though. I mean, it's not a bad decision, but of course you generally don't want to be in this position as a support minute 5 where you have 50 gold. He currently has less net worth than what he started the game with. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but you know, that's a true support right there. That's a hard 5.
As opposed to the compLexity supports where Tusker's even walked around and been involved in 2 kills, taken one of them himself. We are seeing EG with their stacking already, so they've got the Dire Jungle prepared for later on to start farming up. And we do have to remember too what players like Kuro were doing during the group stage with that Naga Siren, where you could stack multiple camps by just using your illusions and not having to require a support hero to move over as well. So they do have ways where they can start flash farming on both Sumail when the Anti-Mage gets his Blink Dagger, the SK if they're trying to get Universe into that Blink Dagger nice and early, which seems to be the critical time for EG as well. Universe already with 600 gold, and he's heading over towards the jungle now. So he actually abandons the lane and moves away from the Clinks.
Yeah, what do we have? There's a double, almost triple stack. So they're going to triple stack the large camp. What's his Sandstorm level 3? So that's going to be fast, unless if this happens. If compLexity try to contest it.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Well, this is a very risky play out of coL here. They only have a Chen and a Tuscan here who could very easily fall prey to a rotation from Sumail. But of course they know that Queen of Pain from the mid lane can just as quickly rotate up with a blink, and she's level 7 to the 5 of Sumail, so will have a way bigger impact. But it looks like they will be conceding it. It's simply too risky territory. There's also a good defensive ward from EG. They obviously do not know it's there.
Yep.
But probably the right call here from coL to let them have that.
One thing that I keep on seeing though is EG, they're moving in reaction to compLexity. Normally it's EG who try and move or control around the map. This time around it's compLexity who are making all the moves, and they are coming up to contest it. So the SK's already taken care of most of the camp. PPD to the neighborhood, and SwindleMelonzz potentially could blink forward, but with PPD going on the Arctic Burn, he just walks over the top of the hill.
That value skeleton. 6 gold for Chen, stole the stack.
with rotation.
So
there's another stack a little bit further down if he wants that one.
That's true. They could try to get that one. The question is if he's going to scout it out now with Z3.
Virus strike up. They called out Fly, and with Laguna Blade, Smell gets a very, very quick kill. And Z3's by himself inside the Dire jungle.
This is why it's so risky for compLexity to go up here. It's very, very easy for EG to find these kills. They might even find Z3 here if there's any sort of backup. He's going to dodge the centaur.
With the Boris strike, that was wonderful. He can body block up Z3. It's buying time for both PPD as well as Fear to come in. They want to find this kill, and there it is, over on the anti-mates. They give him more money. SwindleMelonzz comes in too, but there wasn't enough mana to go for the Sonic Wave. Now the regeneration is triggering off, and the shards will lock him in. The Sonic Wave hits on 3, the blink up. He brings down PPD. Fear able to blink himself away. But you've got Universe trapped inside the river. That Centaur doesn't have mana for a stomp. They cannot get him out of the sandstorm until Blink the Scream.
Yeah, he's going to try to run here. This is not.
He's actually in range of the Scream. And then the attack. SwindleMelonzz will find the double kill.
Okay. Oh, he's actually going to move away. Okay. I thought he was
going to clip jungle it.
He'll take the. I'll actually give the rune here to Fly to make a rotation to the top lane. And Moonmeander has been a little bit quiet over the last few minutes. Of course, there's been a lot of fighting in the Dire jungle, and he hasn't really gotten involved. But as a result, he's found level 6. And you look over at EG's side, the trade-off they've found is for AUI to move down to bottom a bit and get some levels. Because one thing I was going to point out earlier was that AUI was level 2 pretty... like 4 or 5 minutes into the game. And when they were trying to rotate onto the clockwork up top, he had a good defensive ward spotting the rotation, and he was just baiting them to stay there, like moving back and forth as if he didn't really know they were there, but always just timed it so that they couldn't catch him. He's been playing a pretty solid clockwork so far. 25 CS as well. Nothing to scoff at here 9 minutes in against the lane he was facing.
Keeping my eyes on top. Wonderful observers also keeping tabs there, but now with the double TP down to bottom, they bring Fear down here to take over from Aoi, and PPD also arrives. They'll deny up the tower, so now Fear's just going to try and throttle this bottom lane as much as he possibly can, while compLexity were on the hunt. They were trying to find a pick-off over on Fear. Now that Clockwork does have his level almost 7 now, but it's that hook shot from the Clockwork, the rotation from him, that could catch EG out of position.
And as you mentioned earlier, the absolute key item for EG right now is the Blink Dagger on Universe. It's what's going to open up the map. It's what could give Sumail a strong comeback in the game, would be a Blink Stun onto the Queen of Pain where they just blow her up with the entire combo, but still out of reach for a while here for Universe. He needs another almost 1,000 gold minute 10. So this is one of his slower Blink Daggers. I mean, it's not going to be an awful timing by the looks of it. We're just used to seeing very quick Blink Daggers from Universe, especially when he plays this kind of dual off lane as they did this time around.
Yeah, especially when he gets so much farm out of that dual off lane. It wasn't just having the dual lane there, it was the fact that right underneath the clinks he was able to find these last hits. Should also flag too, the sentry ward is now only going to be just deep water by PPD. It's blocked up that camp twice now, so Universe didn't have control of that, and SwindleMelonzz even moved over to try and steal the other stack that was already prepared by EG. Snowball on top, going after Aoi, with also the shards locking down. Aoi will drop. SwindleMelonzz right behind him. This is just a great move from my compLexity, and EG, it doesn't feel like they belong at any point of this map, especially when Hookshot comes in, and Clockwork holding some out, the battery assault, the Good Blade still going to come in. Universe, not sure if he wants to be part of this, and he definitely does not want to be. PPD embracing Sumail, but the Scream, the Sonic Wave was just too much. The Lina drops, and even the Tier 1 tower. You've now got Clinks as well as the Ched taking out the Tier 1 tower. The top Tier 1 tower is also going to go the way of compLexity. And this is all 3 Tier 1 towers dropping within the space of 11 minutes.
Yeah, they are making so much. They're just doing so much work right now. I'm really surprised with how well their rotations are working. It's pretty much the perfect early game for them so far. Not to say that I wasn't expecting them to play really well, but this is really, really, really high quality. All of their lanes have worked well, and something I wanted to mention too is the Tusk from Fly in this game. We've seen a couple of Tusk picks in the playoffs already here at the main event where we've been like, was it really worth the first phase pick? The teams didn't really seem to find too many openings with it. Fly has been all over the place. He's been part of 5 out of 6 kills. He has really been the quintessential part in how those ganks were successful. And yeah, compLexity looking to take a really good grip on the map now. More than almost 7,000 gold lead right now, actually 12 minutes in.
Yeah, it's not
this
just
is the kind of game you want to play Clinks in, by the way. When your team is ahead, when the towers are down, you have access to find these solo pickoffs that this hero excels at.
And he can easily just move around wherever he wants to. Like, he's a great tower destroyer. Normally we think of Klinx as this, well, okay, we've still got a couple of tier 1 towers. He just slips behind the lines and takes him out. But now he adds pressure into the tier 2s. 12 minutes, even though Universe does get that Blink Dagger. So initiation is available here for EG. But the bigger question will also be, is compLexity going to be ready for this? They've got a lot of levels on most of their heroes, but the Chen doesn't have Hand of God yet. He's still only sitting at 5 3/4.
Yeah, that's been the big sacrifice in this game for compLexity, but I think it's been a good trade-off, honestly. With what they've gained from sacking Z.freeK a bit, I would definitely say this was a good call. But as you said, this is when EG's lineup really comes online. They have Song of the Siren, they'll get Epicenter in a moment, I imagine, when Universe hits level 8. Wyvern is closing in on level 5, I guess level 6 is not too far away after that point. They will be giving PPD some farm priority, or at least some experience priority here, I think. And they should be good. Interesting, by the way, to see PPD 2 points in Cold Embrace. I think this is the first time I've seen it. This ability doesn't really scale that well. It gets -1 second cooldown, and it gets plus 1% health regen. I think it might flat out just have been a misclick, to be honest. I feel like this is a really weak skill point on level 4.
You don't think it's a mindset of PPD where he's like, his teammates are just having real issues?
Oh, it's how much does it really help though? Like that 1 extra percent and that 1 second lower cooldown has not really made much of a difference. And when it comes to team fights, you know, what are the odds? Let's put it that way. What are the odds that that 1 second is going to allow you to get the second Cold Embrace that makes the world of difference, instead of the odds that you can get 2 powerful Splinter Blasts off for an extra 80 damage per level?
I can understand your point, man.
But compLexity do get Roche, by the way, we should mention.
They have Roshan, but only that, they have a under 14-minute Aghanim Scepter over on SwindleMelonzz. His net worth is 7.3k. We were talking and saying, okay, Queen of Pain, you're going to need to shut down some amount of buy space for SwindleMelonzz. It's really paid off. He's sitting here with over 500 gold per minute, only 14 minutes in, and they just want to keep on pressuring. With an Aegis Immortal behind him, he can get even more aggressive.
Yeah, he is the absolute beast of this game so far, and if you look over compLexity's lineup right now, with the level 11 Queen of Pain, I think with Acceptor, you're looking to fight, you're looking to take towers. Chen is going to crack level 6. I think, is that Arcane Boots flying out? No, he's going to go for a naked mech, actually, without even getting boots. So a lot of the times when we've seen other Chen players doing this in the new patch, they have gone for a Mango so that you will be able to get enough mana up in the moment to use
top lane. PPD, it's going to be a Cold Embrace which will save him from this Klinx initiation. At the same time though, you cannot save yourself long enough. The Klinx just waits it out. And PPD, he needed that space, however. He does manage to get to the point where he's got the Winter's Curse now. He's hit level 6, so EG have all their ultimates. They have to do something with it. Universe had this Blink Dagger for 2-3 minutes and found no openings. They're looking at SwindleMelonzz in the mid, but that's all they've really got. Fear staring him down, and, well, this Queen of Pain is still very difficult to kill. That's almost 1,500 life to get through, and again, he's sitting on a regen rune. I'd almost like to see a stat. How many runes has EG even picked up? It seems like compLexity have complete control of the river.
Yeah, once again, it's been a lot about the Tusk's pressure. He's just put on the mid lane. Sumail, I think I saw a stat that Sumail actually averages in the group stage so far. He had the highest number of runes per game. I seem to remember seeing that with at 10.7. In this game, it feels like he's barely got it.
Nice hook up.
Oh,
Song of the Siren, the Cogs! Almost burning him out with a Shadow Strike. It's actually going to kill him in the trees. So the Song of the Siren is blowing. They don't stop it. And really, what was wasted? You used a hook shot, and that was all. The army is still here for the Chen. The only hero who's missing is Klinx, who's still having fun in the mid.
Yeah, compLexity has a mech now as well. And he's got it in 5 gold. If they send that out, they might even consider high grounding here. Honestly, it's super early at 16 minutes. It's possible, I'm guessing they might wait until they have the Deso on Klinx.
They got 2 minutes on the Aegis though, so there's still time where the Queen of Pain can get very aggressive. Be it a tier 2 tower in mid, or maybe even die jungle hunts.
Exactly, and it's just such a big deal that Song is on cooldown. This is what you want to play around. Like, the Song being on cooldown is more important than the Wyvern kill they got. Because it just opens up the map so much. It's way harder for them to set up the Sand King. It's way harder to set up the Lina, and of course the Winter's Curse from PPD. So I would imagine compLexity at this point in time will be looking to take the remaining tier 2s, get their their Deso on Klinx, and they could start thinking about even high grounding sub 20.
And Klinks is almost there. He's got the money for the second Mithril Hammer. We also have a Glimmer Cape finished over on the Tusker. So bypassing the Blink Dagger, which is what I know the panel were talking about, saying like Tusker needs this for his initiation. The Fly has proven time and time again in this game so far, he doesn't even need the Blink Dagger to find that initiation. His maneuvering and the movement as the whole team of compLexity is right on the money. And there it is. There's 10.9 tied first for your runes.
It's just that average is going to go down this game, even if EG wins. Like, he has to find a lot of runes in the remainder of this game to keep up with that average.
And the Clockwork Rocket also, like, is there to push out the lane on the bottom. But Sumail, he's such a long way down having this Yule Scepter, no TP off cooldown. compLexity have now taken over the EG jungle, and the Battle Fury may be up for Fear. But I ask you, where does he find the farm? Where does he go now? And can he even stay there for long? Like, you want to keep farming up as this anti-mage, but compLexity can also split push you out, be it with the Chen army, you just pull them back in again. The team fight looks really strong still for compLexity too. So EG can't force the issue. Where is EG's opening? How do they come back in this game? Because they are currently almost 10,000 gold behind. At least in experience, it's a little bit more level.
I think the play for EG is to find a bait where they can Song of the Siren off, or to go for Smoke Ganks, which seems to be the play right here. If they can catch Fly, it's gonna buy a bit of time for them. It's not the greatest kill, but any kill right now opens up the map for Fear. And killing off the Tusk is actually a kind of big deal because he's...
Oh, here they come. Epicenter Burrow Strike going on flying with the Line Strike Array. It still takes Laguna Blade as well to ensure the kill on this Tusker. But that's now Epicenter going down. And Klinks is on the hunt. He's chasing after Fear. That one attack is going to remove a decent chunk of life.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Absolutely. 8 for 3. See Zyzz trying to get in position here to pressure Fear. Now, unfortunately for them, the setup they have there is a Chen. He's pretty garbage at that, so that is not going to happen. We'll just blink out and TP out.
Man, no control from him. Where do you want to go with SwindleMelonzz for his next item? So we're looking at the Aegis Scepter right now. He's sitting on 3.3k gold on the Queen of Pain. Is this when you look for that control you're searching for?
I think Hex or BKB are the good choices here. BKB will allow him to ignore the song, and more importantly, not just get blown up by Sand King Lina if he wants to go for an aggressive engage. Alternatively, like you said, Orchid or Hex, I don't. It's actually going to be a pretty early Orchid anyway. Like, if you consider he went for Ags first, he could get an Orchid right now, let's say minute 22. That would still be before Fear's Manta timing, quite a bit before even.
Especially when Fear bought the full Vlad, so yeah, you're right, delays it up a lot.
It's worth considering. I think Hex is probably the more stable choice because Manta will be coming out inevitably. Like, it's an inevitable pickup here for Fear as the next item. Yeah, I'd say Hex probably the absolute best here, and then they have to try to rely on not getting caught out with the Quap, which, you know, they have two really good engagers in Tusk and Clockwork to set her up instead, and if they give her the Aegis again, you know, she's actually safe even without a BKB.
Maybe we can look towards the situation right now. So compLexity, we're going to assume they're going to get the tier 2 tower without any kind of counter initiation from EG. Unless EG really want to heavily commit into something like that. I almost feel like they just want to buy some time until that point. Let's think about compLexity moving up to the tier 3 towers. What do they need to get past EG's lineup, knowing they're going up against such big AoE control, be it through the biggest one, Song of the Siren, but also coming in through Line Strike Arrays, Winter's Curse, all these things. How do they actually get all the way up and take a Rax without putting themselves in terrible, terrible danger?
I like the idea of getting a pipe in this particular game. I think against Sand King Lina, it's a really great item choice. Either that or a secondary Glimmer Cape on Chen. So the way EG will be looking to defend high ground will most definitely be either a wraparound with Song of the Siren or just flat out just walking into them and trying to catch and set up for a 2-man Burrow Epi. But should you be able to Glimmer Cape one of those targets during that, they might simply stay alive with Glimmer Cape, Hand of God, and Mech. And then you can really turn the fight on its head. If Epicenter is used and they don't find a kill, I simply think EG will run out of steam, at least for now, right? Because AM's teamfight contribution right now is really weak. The only thing he can do is get a good Mana Void if Queen of Pain is low on mana, but he can't jump into a Clinks. Like, he's going to get 4-shot if he tries to contribute to the fight until he has Manta.
Yep.
So there is definitely a timing window right here for compLexity where the fights will be more or less 5-on-4 plus Mana Void, and I think they're getting this top tier 2 for free. I would be very surprised if EG even try for this. They'll more likely be looking to trade for bottom tier 1, where AUI is currently pushing out with his Illus. Universe inside Sandstorm will blink out here as Moonmeander is moving down.
Yeah, they don't have any detection. Like, that was Fly. Now they actually Sadaya Sentry Ward, which is down in the mid lane. If Moonmeander actually drags his creep wave up, he's going to reveal the Observer Ward here, and in fact, that's exactly what he does. So EG actually know where compLexity's vision is. But EG also, like, this warding from Aoi, he puts an Observer Ward as well as a Sentry Ward down inside the Radiant jungle. This looks like a very aggressive warding position for the position they're in the game.
It allows Spirit to farm the enemy jungle, because he can't farm his own. So generally this is what you want to do when you're under this much pressure, is you will always see the leading team try to invade the enemy jungle and shut them down entirely. And then the logical play is just, well, okay, if they're committing so hard into our jungle, we can just trade, right? You just take theirs and it becomes an even trade after all. And everything for EG right now, if they can get an even trade in the next 10 minutes, that's what they're looking for. I think it's ambitious trying to win the next 10 minutes. But should Fear get a Manta and another item after that, they have
nice hook shot down, catching out PPD. The Cog's burning, also had the Arctic burn up. So able to run himself away. Moonmeander right behind him, and PPD, the TP out, the battery assault. If he kept walking, he might have been able to reach. But the TP out in time will be saving the Winter Wyvern.
Yeah, PPD relied on the fact that it looked like Moonmeander just simply didn't follow him, so he took the chance for the TP. If he would have seen Moonmeander following him there, he wouldn't even have tried the TP.
Bottom lane, they play Ring a Rosie. There goes your dust from Universe. At least reveals him, and then Song of the Siren from Aoi. And will TP out. Universe will also get out. And Anti-Mage's Overstate is welcome. So in fact, he just creep skips a little bit behind the tier 1 tower of mid, and then moves up to the Ancient Sphere. Moving quite nicely. He's managed to get at least 4 or 5 camps since they put those wards down.
Yeah, this is how EG wants to and needs to play right now. He's trying to maybe backdoor the top tier 1 a bit here. No, he's going to try to cut the wave, but it's going to take a little while before it arrives.
He needs to stop the momentum on the top lane. Now that Roshan's respawned, and it's a quick respawn as well for compLexity. So timing is on their side. All this space which we're talking about, which EG need to create to make sure the Anti-Mage can farm up King Commander style, it's going to start to disappear very, very quickly.
Is he going to try for it?
He tried.
Blinked in there, but he's probably going to give up on it right now. But he still forced him out. And this is a game of cat and mouse right now. It's about, can Fear jump from lane to lane without getting caught too much? So far he's doing a great job. Hasn't even died this game yet. He can keep this up, being elusive. Still, it doesn't really feel like EG are making much of a comeback. Experience-wise, they're pretty close, but Gold is
this could be it.
Stalling out.
Blink away by SwindleMelonzz, but Universe and Samal, they're still right behind it. Blink forward, the Light Strike Array as well is going to connect SwindleMelonzz. They need to Laguna him, and the coL. Actually, they just let the curse go. That's a big kill. PPD will take it. But that Queen of Pain was getting completely out of control, and this actually moves the Anti-Mage into the #1 net worth position.
This is where, if you're compLexity, you need to be careful with not slowing down too much. They've played a very, very good super early game, but their strategy just has a weakness when we come to minute 35, unless if they can secure Zyzz to be able to attack during the entire fight, he can still do a great job against AM. This is a very good step in the right direction.
Yep, taking out Roshan.
Easily claiming the Rosh here, 23 minutes in.
That's with the Aegis of
BKB as well. I wonder if he's going to go for a crest actually after that, or if he just keeps the medallion here. But BKB, I agree with him.
You almost look at complexity's point of this game right now, but I don't think he wants to plan for another item after this. Like, get the BKB, push up and take a Rax. The only reason you're getting into the item is because you're looking to prepare yourself to go in again on EG base. If they waited in longer, like you said, 35 minutes being a big mark, they kind of have to go sometime soon. Sumail also have to be careful when Fly's moving around that close. He's got Blink Dagger as well as the Glimmer Cape.
And we were wondering what Swindle was going to go for. It's going to be an Octarine core, as it looks right now. I do not think this would be a Bloodstone. I just think that's a really...
It wouldn't make much sense.
It's a weird position to buy Bloodstone in, I think. So, Octarine... I don't know. I'm not completely sold on that item on Queen of Pain just yet. I've seen it picked up in a couple of games. I think it can be great sometimes. Of course, lowering the cooldown of his ultimate even further, so it's going to be down to 30 when he does have that, which, I mean, it's great. And the blink cooldown would be very low as well. But generally, Queen of Pain's impact in these teamfights is going to be, one big burst, and then you have to kill 1 or 2 key targets. And Octarine Core doesn't really help with that burst, whereas you could be looking at something like perhaps considering a Refresher for a really big burst output, a BKB for more flexibility with how you engage, or even the Hex for added utility. Octarine is a little bit of an odd one out, which gets like exponentially better the more items you have, because it also reduces the cooldown of them. But he has no active items apart from Bottle 1 and Treads, so
yeah,
it's not really that useful right now.
It's the no disable line a build from him. I suppose at the same time he's got Fly for his disables as well as the Chan, but I'm still waiting for this push to come. Like compLexity, they will move you.
Все напряжены, ни в коем случае нельзя в таких ситуациях каким-то образом альтабаться или как-то отвлекаться. Нужно смотреть на карту, нужно все время держать в голове игровую ситуацию. Да, вернулись мы в доту, вроде как. Игроки вроде как тоже вернулись, хотя до конца в этом уверенными быть нельзя.
Попросили 2-3 минуты. Поэтому подождем, пока лаги закончатся.
Да, нельзя, по крайней мере, в том случае, чтобы это повторилось в решающий какой-то момент в драке, потому что просто встанут, какой-то Клинкс на автоатаке убьет антимага, это перевернет вообще всю игру, и, конечно, такого на турнире за такие деньги огромные
быть не должно, да, я с тобой абсолютно согласен. Кстати говоря, вот Fly я бы отметил, пока у нас есть время. Игрок, играя на саппорт-роли, он очень много смог вынести за 25,5 минут. То есть и Glimmer Cape у него появился очень рано. Если бы compLexity продолжали бы держать карту в напряжении и не позволяли бы сопернику лишнего сплит-пуша, не позволяли бы Queen of Pain умирать просто так, то вполне вероятно, что этот Glimmer Cape мог бы решить исход очень важной драки для них, когда бы они пошли ломать хайграунд. За счет того, что можно как-то подсейвить человека там от Лагуны, от Эпицентра, от Винтервиверна еще каким-то образом там спасти.
Да, в общем-то, это хорошие артефакты, действительно боевые. Ну и вот по поводу влияния каких-то внешних факторов на команды, хотелось бы еще отметить то, как Valve подошли к именно вчерашнему и сегодняшнему дню. Вчера команды, которые заканчивали играть, они заканчивали поздно, и сегодня у них выходной. То есть, если бы, например, вчера IG после победы сегодня играли первую же игру, они закончили где-то в час ночи, сегодня там, в 9 утра могли быть совершенно никакущие. Но сегодня у ВП, у Invictus Gaming, насколько я понимаю, выходной. Сегодня у нас последняя игра Cloud9 Вичи, которые, в общем-то, вчера в первой половине дня играли и имели полную возможность отдохнуть и восстановиться.
Да, должны, конечно, вчера очень морально устать эти две команды, поскольку в момент игры у Cloud9 происходили небольшие проблемы здесь в Кей-арене, и из-за этого, ну, я уверен, что это очень сильно давит, морально очень сильно давит и вот физически, потому что ты сидишь долго, да. У нас вот первая игра Aegis of compLexity, это bo3. Все матчи сегодня, кстати говоря, проходят по системе bo3, не забывайте об этом.
Вчерашняя BO1 рулетка закончилась. Ну вот по поводу Cloud9 я согласен. Мало того, что были паузы, так они еще и проиграли. А вот с Вичи Gaming я готов поспорить. У них, во-первых, была всего лишь Best of 1 игра, она была напряженная, но они-то ее выиграли, и они, наоборот, выиграли такую невероятно эмоциональную игру, после которой они должны быть на подъеме, скорее всего. То есть им это зашло даже в плюс в какой-то степени. Cloud9, да, Cloud9 вчера, конечно, выглядели... помятыми
ну, выглядели.
Выглядели не то чтобы помятыми, но просто их немножко помяли Сидек. Очень, очень жестко помяли их Сидек, которые не оставили там шансов ни в первой, ни в второй игре. Хотя уж во второй, пока была пауза, ну все, кого видел, говорили, нет, все, здесь пик такой, что Сидек никаких шансов не имеет. Ну, как мы видим...
Ну, вспомни, как Cloud9 играли в групповой стадии, когда мы с тобой комментировали. Очень дисциплинированно, хладнокровно. Они, кажется,
был
против IG. Да, это, наверное, был действительно лучший день Cloud9. И Envy там попадал очень качественно. Ну, в общем, все было за европейским коллективом. И они действительно смогли показать невероятную игру. Вот вчера это было, конечно, что-то с чем-то. То есть не получалось абсолютно все из рук выпадало. Надо к сегодняшнему дню собраться, иначе для Cloud9 выступление на International может закончиться.
Хотя, честно говоря, вот то, что вчера даже... Ну, как-то, не знаю, Envy последние несколько турниров и последние пару месяцев уж выглядит каким-то сильно подавленным. Такое ощущение, что не верит в свою собственную победу. И уже даже, по-моему, не расстраивается, когда, ну, как говорят, он закидывает. Вчера даже интервью на английском стриме точно было, не знаю, было ли на русскоязычном, брали интервью у болельщиков, да. И один из болельщиков Cloud9 говорит, ну чего ты пожелал Джеки Мао? Он говорит, ну я пожелал ему не закинуть.
Типа, да, Envy, не бросай, пожалуйста, не бросай.
Ну, причем дословный перевод именно, в общем-то, так и звучал. Ну,
да.
Смысл все прекрасно понимают этой фразы. Да, конечно, много у Cloud9 приключений в последнее время было. Да, ну а тут у нас вроде как на самом деле все выглядит готовым к продолжению, но до сих пор стоит пауза, до сих пор у нас админы хотят убедиться, что все в боевой готовности находится. Вот, кстати, по поводу Квапы, все-таки Актарин или имеет смысл здесь тоже сделать Bloodstone в качестве такого, может быть, легкого разгона дополнительного, или он будет, по твоему мнению, неудачным решением, если заходить на ХГ уже?
На Queen of Pain Bloodstone, мне кажется, будет неудачным решением. На линии Bloodstone хорошо смотрится, поскольку, ну, вообще, в принципе, Bloodstone делают для фарма. Вот сколько я общался с профессиональными игроками, они говорят, что, покупая Bloodstone, следующий артефакт ты можешь купить раньше, чем ты бы его купил, например, без Bloodstone. Плюс это, к тому же, артефакт, который добавляет тебе кучу возможностей. Да,
возможность засноуболиться слегка.
Да. То есть, к тому же, при игре в сплит-пуш, собирая на линии Bloodstone, ты вот можешь, как выразился Фобос, держать карту в пассивном напряжении. То есть Лина с Юлом и Bloodstone, где-то там кто-то показался, Юл, стан, Лагуна, Драгонслейв, рука, человек погибает. Вот здесь, конечно, это вряд ли будет получаться, потому что Чен все-таки может помочь своей ультой, но все равно Лина, которая сплитпушит, она достаточно опасна. То есть там дальше в подобных ситуациях можно какой-нибудь лотар сделать, или можно какой-нибудь блинкдаггер тоже купить, то есть опять-таки это увеличивает возможности сплитпуша. Ну, а в ситуации с EG вполне вероятно, что это будет Аганим, потому что соперник, скорее всего, будет поджимать из-за того, что осознают комплексити, что вот с каждой минутой антимаг становится все сильнее, и вот такое ощущение, что после 20-й минуты у EG просто развязались руки. Они начинают более смело передвигаться по карте, они начинают более смело фармить. И это, конечно же, нужно комплексити пресекать, нельзя позволять
вот
такого.
Фрага на Квапе они так резко встрепенулись за время того, когда Queen of Pain отдыхала, резко пофармили, потом еще продолжили по инерции, но сейчас, вот как мы видим, в принципе, по позиции они зажаты на базе, и, как, опять же, отпушивает только Sand King, который отпушит линию хорошо, но вот по вышке у него особо возможностей побить нету с руки.
Да, по крайней мере, он крипов способен быстро убивать. У него, кстати говоря, уже 12-й левел, что тоже немаловажно. И, скорее всего, мы увидим от Sand King'а Veil of Discord, до которого ему фармить еще 1000.
Это отличное решение против, ну, под Mana Void антимага, под рассказ Наги, Сирены и Лины, у которой пока что Аганима нету, и весь урон магический, но даже если Аганим будет, урон с кастов все равно заходит с магией. Ну и на ранней стадии это действительно очень сильно решает, да и в принципе, если брать какой-то альтернативный артефакт, типа Аганима на Sand King'е, он усиливает один только ультимейт, да. А этот усиливает не только твой рассказ, но и каждый рассказ из твоего тиммейта. Да,
то есть если ты способен играть с хорошим тимплеем, то Veil of Discord, конечно же, более грамотный выбор, нежели чем Аганим на Sand King'е. Честно говоря, Аганим, Veil of Discord — это такой артефакт, который, в принципе, всегда может зайти, потому что, ну, практически всегда, потому что всегда в команде есть какой-то магический рассказ. Это как пайп, да, просто на некоторых героях он нехорошо смотрится и приходится приобретать какие-то, ну, другие артефакты, а иногда его действительно есть смысл собрать. Ну, вот, например, Чен после покупки Меки Аркантапок, я не знаю совершенно, что будет ZfreeK покупать, то есть у него варианты следующие. Это первое, что-то наподобие Guardian Greaves, что, мне кажется, будет достаточно дорогим приобретением, ибо рецепт Guardian Greaves стоит очень много золота, а прибавляет он, ну, он, конечно, тоже много дает, но иногда есть смысл выходить в какие-то более полезные для себя артефакты. Вот, может быть, кстати, еще и пайп появится у ZfreeK, а, возможно, он будет рашить Аганим. То есть у него выбор есть, куда потратить свои средства.
Да, по последнему апдейту от Valve, как сообщила команда Evil Genius, с 2 до 5 минут нам осталось сидеть в этой паузе. Не знаю, насколько этой информации можно доверять, но, тем не менее, донести ее до вас я все-таки обязан. Да, также отметим по контролю карты. Очень неплохие стоят варды у ЕГЭ, которые видят вражеский лес, но во вражеском лесу-то, в общем-то, никто и не находится. Туда буквально забегает Флинк, съесть 2-3 крипов и тут же убегает. И становится он совершенно бесконтрольным. Также стоит вот такой интересный оборонительный вард около практически своей базы, для того, чтобы видеть, есть ли здесь клинк с крипов, кто вообще находится на этой горочке, потому что горочка довольно-таки опасная. И также стоит вард на миде. Но практически без контроля остается вот эта верхняя часть карты, вот этот вот лес, вражеские эншенты, и без контроля, что самое важное, остается Рошан. Стоят варды вокруг, но именно вот кто здесь находится, не видит абсолютно. В то время как у compLexity стоит вард, который показывает выход с нижней линии, и стоит вард вот как раз-таки вот на этой перетяжке с эншентов в свой лес, чтобы они могли знать, когда в их лес кто-то заходит. Это довольно-таки важно, когда ты давишь, чтобы соперник имел возможность фармить только свой лес, и если ты там находишься, то не фармить ничего. А если он уходит в твой лес, ты мог это видеть и как-то пытаться наказывать.
Кстати говоря,
так часто делают там те же Cloud9 в свое время, ЕГЭ.
По поводу Рошана, вот очень хорошо смотрится драка на Рошане у EG, вот как ты отметил, они там действительно ничего не видят, но если они прочухают, что соперник этого Рошана забирает, то через сон Наги, все мы прекрасно знаем, можно идеально зайти, Рошана забрать, Aegis своровать.
Виверна,
Виверна, Sand King — это очень сильная комбинация, плюс еще все это будет происходить наверняка вот на Рошпите или рядом там, то есть игроки будут стоять близко друг к другу, и Monovoid может покосить просто всю команду. Ну, Monovoid тут вот в Queen of Pain он хорошо влетит. В Чена, наверное, не очень хорошо, хоть у него и маны вроде много, и потратить он ее успеет. А вот Queen of Pain, если она начнет там долго раскастовываться, то драка будет затяжная, то Monovoid Queen of Pain он может сказать, просто не даст.
Да, у нее огромное количество маны. Сейчас
выиграть драку.
Это будет Mystic Staff, скорее всего. Там станет порядка 2000 МП. Это, конечно, огромное количество урона потенциально, которое может нанести.
Да, Queen of Pain, она сейчас собирает этот Octarine Core, но вот чисто теоретически, если SwindleMelonzz подкопает Sand King, или она там получит стан, или там какой-то дизейбл от команды EG, то антимаг через манту, прыгая на эту Queen of Pain, он ее просто сотрет, он ее не ощутит. Если Если же Queen of Pain сыграла бы Black King Bar, то вполне вероятно, что прежде чем соперник закастует себя какой-то дизейбл, ты сможешь поражать Black King Bar, и даже если ультанет Winter Wyvern, по крайней мере, ты не умрешь в секунду, ты не умрешь моментально и не подставишь всю свою команду. Можно будет отблинкнуться, перевести дыхание и как-то...
His rotations were on point, so he's always performing at the highest level so far. So I'm very
interesting position for him to be in, isn't it? Because he was in secret. We all know that they've now come into the international as the hot favourites, but he's not in that team. Some players would come out of that and go, well, obviously I must be terrible then. I can't be good enough to play at the top level. And that could damage someone's confidence very, very severely. But he's taken it the other way. He's almost taken it as a, no, I mean, you heard him in the video, I've learnt a lot, I've played with some great players, they're still great players, I've become a better player as a result of playing. It's a great attitude to have.
It is.
And then bring into a very inexperienced Dota 2 team and apply that. Someone said to me, and I almost feel this is a little unfair, he was maybe a small fish in a big pond, and now he's a big fish in a small pond. But I get the analogy, but it must make him feel very good that he's now almost a focus of attention in terms of experience in that team. You've played, all of you have played in a number of different teams and done that. Have you had the experience where you've got to a team you thought were really good and you felt, yeah, we can win some things with it, and then you've ended up, you know, leaving that team for whatever reason, then playing with someone? What is that like? What is that transition like?
You need to change a bit your play style, because if you play, for example, personally this year I try to play with French players and try to, you know, get newcomers to become better and share my experience. And it's harder because then you have this mentality where you know they rely on you a lot. So, and when you switch, so I went to play with Alliance, and then obviously they're accomplished players, and I don't have anything to learn them. I'm not, you know, they don't rely on me. They're going to play their game, and we're going to play together as a team. Then you need to work on that attitude. You need to trust your teammates more. It takes a bit of time. It doesn't take too much time, but it can. You need to have that in mind. You know, they're not the same players. I have to adapt to them.
Okay.
I also want to mention that Fly, like, he's one of the most stable persons that you can probably find. So for him to get, you know, booted off Secret, I don't think that affects him much at all. He's easily.
I mean, it's not really fair to entirely blame it, because he sort of swapped roles when he was moving into Secret. So he took a more core position where his most natural position, I would say, is being a support player.
Yeah.
And it kind of takes time when you're transitioning into a different role.
He was playing offlane for a while there, and it didn't suit him as well. He also played mid for some time, but like support is where he really shines.
And to outsiders, it wasn't really clear that he was the problem. We didn't really think that Fly didn't mesh well with the team. No. It was more of an internal thing, and you know, sometimes chemistry just doesn't work out. For example, with Vici and, you know, removing Black and bringing in someone else, it seems better on paper, but you never actually know the inner workings until you actually try it.
That's true. You can't know how a team functions if you're not inside of it, because, you know, there are so many things to it. Not just how you perform in game, but also how you communicate. Something that Fly even highlighted himself. This is super important to him and to compLexity.
And you know, I started in a lot for Team Epon, that's not a team anymore, but Fly was playing with them before he joined compLexity. And he's the type of player where I can tell, like, if he's experienced, right, amongst compLexity right now, he's the most experienced Dota player amongst them, but he's going to give them space as well. He's very calm, you know, he's not the guy that's going to try to control his teammates, you know, I know what I'm doing, listen to me. He's going to be very calm, he's going to give them the space they need, but he's also going to be there when they need him. All right, I don't think that's the right move, I think we should do that instead. But they're gonna, you know, grow as players and as a team around him, and that's very good.
Okay, you'll forgive me for not knowing your personal lives, all that detail, but I just wondered whether any of you have played with siblings or cousins or, you know, family members at all. I just wondered whether any of you...
No, my family, they shun Dota. And,
that's not good.
No, they've come to understand it and like it more.
All right.
I made them watch free-to-play. That was a good...
That's a great move. That's a great move. I've watched my dad has been forced to watch that as well. He went, yeah, that seems pretty cool.
You know,
okay, I'll take that.
You know, my dad knows about the Great Western Shuffle.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, do you want to share that with us now?
I mean, when, you know, BTS came to Malaysia to cast a tournament, so I brought Andrew, Zari, and Gods for dinner, and they sat down, and my dad saw them, and the first question he asked them, what do you guys think about the Great Western Shuffle? They were like...
That's brilliant. I love that.
Yeah, they were just like stunned, and they were like looking at him.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's brilliant. How about you two? Have you played with?
I got into Dota because of my brother.
Okay.
So I guess it's somewhat similar to Jeremy when I just, you know, saw my brother playing. I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Then tried it and then fell in love with it. My parents don't like it as much. They're more like, okay, well, now they're of the mentality, oh, if it makes you happy, then go on with it. So.
Okay, I was only interested in the sense that, you know, what is the dynamic in the team when you've got two of the team who are family members and they're brothers? How does that affect the rest of the team? Because obviously they're very close, and we've seen, you know, in the past they've gone through, and they've got the support from the parents, which I personally think is fantastic as well. Never even a hint of what are you doing, why are you playing videos. Actually, it's more about, well, maybe you should think about playing a different game and being more successful. So that's really cool. But how does that affect the dynamic, do you think, within the team?
I was standing for him for 1 week in the end of last year, and they have a very open communication between Swindle and his brother. So like they will be sort of harsh on each other sometimes, but they're brothers, so like they can take that. But they also said that quickly when I was playing with them, like if you think it's too much or something, just say something. But they can very openly communicate. So I think Fly fits very well in because of that.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. We are ready to go back to the game. You'll be pleased to hear. So let's go and rejoin our commentary team. Toby, it's all yours.
It's alive. It's alive again. EG versus compLexity. We come back into just shy of the 26th minute, where compLexity are 8-4, and currently with the momentum in the game, but the momentum is swinging, Sind.
Yeah, it's as we talked about before the pause here, it just seems like EG have done a good job of slowing the game. Okay, never mind.
Hook shot pushing PPD back, Fly right in the mark. Coming of the Walrus Punch, PPD going to embrace himself. Unfortunately, the hug is not enough. Chen will still find that nuke kill. And with the Wyvern down for 33 seconds, no buyback available, they've now lost the Winter's Curse. This is a potential where the Clinks can move around during the fights without having too much trouble.
I just don't think they're going to get a fight, though. EG will just be split pushing bottom with anti-mage, they'll get the
they're almost going to force it. Like, just go up. You got the BKB over on the Clinks. You still got the Aegis of Champions for another 2 minutes. SwindleMelonzz has a fresh Octarine Core now completed over on him. Inflict the damage before the Wyvern's up. You got Mud Golems coming. You actually got double sets of Mud Golems. Technically, this could be 4 stuns you're looking at. Or actually 6 stuns. They just break free and move forward.
It's going to just throw 2 rocks at Sumail.
Fire Strike. Clinks dropping down low, but then again, they could hold him there. They do drop the Winter's Curse over on Clinks. Laguna Blade burning through the Aegis, the Immortal. As compLexity, they back off. They were attempting to TP out, but Owie lets off the Song of the Siren. Chen, he's still got the Hand of God available here, and who do they really want to be going on? They're looking for the opening, and it's going to be the Clinks, but the BKB, you'll set up, he's going to get the BKB straight away, and then just run away to safety. Potentially could be sent back while the Anti-Mage is doing his work on the bottom lane. Took out the tier 3 tower, and can't even cancel the TP out. Fear is away to safety, but it's the Fire Strike chasing after Clinks. Real trouble right now, and there it is. Owie will come through for the Riptide kill. And Fear, so much work on the bot lane. That tier 3 tower as well, he's going to be happy. And they look for more, actually. The Chen, Z-Freak, not out of home and host. Trying to run back up to the tree line now. He's got no TP scroll, so he's a guaranteed kill here for Evil Geniuses. Actually, even more. Fly, he's low, no mana void available, but just 2 hits. Okay, you know that swing which we were tossing up a little bit? I think it's really swung.
Yeah, EG are leading the game right now. I think compLexity have to get the next Aegis, and they have to take a chance. Like, the play they went for there, you see, this is the problem. They went bottom lane, so when they go for the play, they have like a very small timing window to get into the top lane, and EG easily buy time, right? They have the Splinter Blast the moment Wyvern respawns. Until then, they just, you know, whenever Clinks went to hit the tower, they just stun with Sand King, they stun with Lina, and afterwards they can just use the Naga Song to chase them down as they're trying to get out and get back and defend against Fear. Just very textbook split push play here from, or not really split push as such, just a push from AM while they're defending their base here for EG. And
yeah, it was a trade they knew they were going to get into. Like compLexity, you look at it, you go, okay, we got an Aegis Immortal. Maybe we can go up, we can inflict some level of damage, and then Fear, he was already pushing the tier 2 tower, then reaches the tier 3, and it's that decision time. It's like, do we do this? And when they tried to make that decision to fall back, then Owie kicked in. Then the Song of the Siren came in, and you couldn't get heroes back fast enough.
It's one of those moments, it's really difficult to make the call right, because you don't know if Wyvern has buyback, but in hindsight, maybe they should have gone in, like, all in on that push, where they don't just send Clinks to slowly push the tower with his Deso, but they send in Clinks, the Quap goes to hit it, they hook shot in, they get the snowball play and just, you know, commit everything. When it was a little bit half and half, it seemed like they they just tried to slow push while they were being split by AM. It's just not going to work.
It seemed odd, and this is one of those things too where you got to keep your composure as we do go through these pause phases and try and work out the problems. compLexity have to keep that momentum that they started at the beginning of this game. They had everything going their way. The rotations were perfect. Tusker, Fly, he was finding hero pickoffs left, right, and center. The clockworks, his hook shots were always finding good targets as well. And then Chen came through. You pushed the tier 2 towers, but as always, the biggest step you have is getting inside the enemy base, and it seems to be a step where compLexity are stumbling.
You know what what compLexity has been missing this whole game? They've been missing a gem. The wards from EG have been doing so much work. Unless they had one and they just lost it from those kills, but I don't think Chen was
I haven't seen one purchased.
I don't remember seeing a gem, and it's kind of, let's check their store. There's one available at least, so if they bought one, it would have been long ago. I think it's an oversight on their part. When you're dominating the game and you have a lineup that's really good for finding pickoffs with like Clinkz, Clock, Tusk, Quap, like all those 4 heroes are really good at ganks. You can't allow the team to find vision. It's also what Mad said. What's keeping EG in the game is vision right now. It's the one thing they needed to counter. Because EG have been playing, like they've been doing a really good job at placing the right wards and playing the right way around them. And coL could have countered it for 900 gold.
Yeah, that they could have. Like it was the I remember when we saw that observer and sentry ward going down inside the Radiant jungle, and you instantly flag. It's like this is so Anti-Mage has space, so you can see what's there and you can make the calculated risk. And it doesn't feel like since that point, like since those wards went down, that Fear's really been at risk. Like even when he was on the top lane, I remember there was this moment he was farming up, and there were 2 compLexity heroes just looking at him. And it was a clockwork. You know you could hook shot in, but there wasn't enough control. You knew you couldn't get the pick off. And does this then come back to also, what are you going to be building up right now on the Queen of Pain or over on the Clinkz? You've got BKB Desolator and you've got Aghanim's Octarine. This is a non-disabled lineup. There's no control on the anti-mage. It really does feel like an all-in style push, which when compLexity had the moment to do so, they lose the trade-off. It wasn't even an advantage trade. Like they lost 3 big heroes, actually more than that, and you lost a tier 3 tower for inflicting, I think it was minimal damage.
Yeah,
okay, they took half of the tier 3 tower on the top lane. It wasn't a big enough of a trade.
I just think it's simply a flaw in their strategizing here that they don't have an Orchid on either Clinkz or Quap, or at least that she went for a Hex. Like, when you're ahead and you're dominating, this is the classic play that we've seen time and time again, and why Clinkz actually became a pick against AM if you go back a year and a half. You just went Orchid on Clinkz and shut him down when he was roaming around. This time, they just don't have it.
Well, these are our thoughts. We'll see if the panelists still agree with them, so it's back over to you, Red.
Thank you very much, Toby. Yes, unfortunately, in another pause, it does give us a chance to examine a couple of minutes of play anyway. Anything you saw in that couple of minutes? Because you all agreed and said compLexity need to isolate EG players and pick them off. They got PPD, but then they kind of got isolated themselves and got picked off as well. A bit messy.
Oh, their high ground push, they got punished really hard there. They tried to do the send back home and just disjoint because Anti-Mage was split pushing, so they needed to get back. But in the end, the Eul Scepter came out and kept the Clinkz in place, where after he BKB'd, he could still not run away. They have some good heroes against BKB. And yeah, they got punished really hard there.
Yeah. So it was a misplay by the Clinkz in the sense that when you get sent home, Euls can cancel the send home. But if you BKB before it, so you can't get Euls, you just, sure, you waste a BKB charge, but you get back to the fountain safely. Yeah. So he tried to, probably didn't think of the Euls because that's a new, I mean, it's not a new change, but as Dota players, we're used to that nothing can cancel the send home. The hook thing, the fountain hook thing was the same story, but they changed it. I mean, it was changed a few months ago now, and he probably didn't have that in mind, so it was like, I'm safe, and then he got Euls, and then it was a disaster.
So more like a habit.
Exactly, a bad habit.
Yeah, he was just looking at his HP going like, they can't kill me before I'm back.
Right.
Which was right.
Yeah, he was right.
He was fine.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else that you've seen so far, Winter, in that?
I think even Cinderan mentioned again, like the gem, the lacking of the gem is just a really severe problem here. The vision giving EG the necessary information to make the plays that like Fear has been pushing without fear. Because he had the vision, he knew the supports were on their side of the map, and he was just like, okay, I can just force them to come back to base and make the play that he did.
And also, condolences to PPD who suffered the post-pause death.
There's always one, isn't there?
There's always a guy who dies after the pause. This time he has positioned himself very nicely. He's in his own jungle, safely tucked away. So I'm sure he's going to be fine.
It usually happens to the captains. During the pause, you're like talking to everyone, and you totally forget that you are actually in the middle of somewhere.
I was going to ask, do you go back to the game and you go, wait, where was I?
And people can know it's a post like death, post death, because you run into 5 people. You know, it's not even you're like actually completely out of position. It's because you just lost track of what happened. But what I wanted to mention, that we mentioned that Octarine core, and the fact that coOP has no hex. So when they were pushing, they didn't show coOP or Clockwork. Both of them were missing. But AM kept on split pushing bottom and went into the base. He would never do that if coOP had a hex, because then they could chain stun him. But he knows that as long as the Klings is visible, nothing can chain stun him until Klings TPs back and kills him. He's going to be fine by that time. So he can do whatever he wants. Whatever he wants on the map.
Sorry, we'll come back to it. It's an interesting piece because for a new player, what you're usually trying to do is learn, the heroes and learn some of the items and what have you. And your focus is so much on that you forget what the other players are playing. So we know Dota is a game of counter. So if you don't remember that when you're a new player, it's very tough. But as you become a bit better and you start noticing these things, it can actually win you games. And it's a great example of the fact that, if you haven't tuned in already, make sure you tuned into the noob stream, the newcomer stream today, because that is fantastic at explaining exactly these kind of things. And it's those little moments, isn't it, where you suddenly go, hang on a minute. They haven't got something that I know will stop me from doing, I can do this now. It's like the light bulb moment.
Exactly, and those players are it's not even that they're good. They're perfect at, taking advantage of those situations.
Yeah, I
think
a very good example would be if you are playing a hero like Lifestealer or Juggernaut, you have innate survivability, ability to actually help you survive, and the opponent doesn't have anything that goes through your TP with your spell immunity, you will be able to take the hero to a very huge limit. So you have to use the hero to the limits if you actually understand and remember.
And the guys down here, and you guys as well, I include you in this, it's like a second nature. You don't even think about it. It's one of those things that's just part of what happens, which is fantastic. But, when I'm playing, for instance, I'm still concentrating on what I'm supposed to be doing, let alone what the other guys are doing, right? And when you get better at it, even then, you really aren't thinking too much about the other side. So, really impressive. We do have a quick replay, actually, of the last team fight. So, it'd be quite good to look at that and sort of talk through as to how it all broke out. I know, Winter, you were sort of going, well, why didn't they use the BKB? And I think we can see that in the replay.
Yeah, so now
this was like past the fight already.
This was a super informed fight and really well executed by EG. So you want to pop the Clinks. You want to get his Aegis because he's not actually that great of an Aegis carrier because of Death Pact. So they popped him with the Aegis with Winter's Curse and then Laguna, and then he dropped.
Okay, we're gonna drop in now. Sorry about that. Yeah, we just got a little ahead of ourselves.
The really key moment is after the sleep, and if you watch Fnatic, they went all out on combo, and then the opponents pop their BKB, but they actually wait for the BKB pop. So,
and AM at this point is already knows exactly what he's going to do.
So at this point, they're just trying to kill the creeps, and then once the golems die, they'll pop the glyph. Chen actually has his heal up. Debatable whether or not he could have healed to.
This is also where Anti-Mage is already pushing.
Yes.
So now they try to just send home and TP back and stop the Anti-Mage. That's where it all goes wrong after this.
Yeah, you're gonna see here. Anti-Mage is split pushing, and they are frantically trying to send the Klings back after the song.
Sleep is very smart as well because he's preventing them from porting. That's probably what he wants to do.
Yeah, and he didn't pop his BKB, and the Use cancelled the sandbag, and that was what happened.
But now the BKB doesn't do anything anymore.
Yeah, he's just screwed after this.
Yep. And look at Anti-Mage's life, and that's without a hex. With a hex, he's dead.
I honestly feel that Octarine this early on doesn't bring you anything really for the value, apart from a big mana pool,
being tanky.
Like your health pool is really good, but it doesn't really. It's a very expensive item. And on Queen, when you already reduce the ulti cooldown so much with Agonins, I don't think it's worth it. I think it's just a straight up, actually bad purchase.
For this situation, I think they didn't fully understood the problem of the Anti-Mage. If he had a hex, this wouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, we can make right round to the point we made earlier on, so that's really cool. In the way that the game has now unfolded a little bit more in the last couple of minutes, do we feel maybe this is a watershed moment in this match and that actually EG might now just go on to take this?
Yes, because now they have Roshan control, and Klinks isn't strong enough to take it by his lonesome. And he died, they lose a few seconds of map control, they lost the bottom T3 tower. Now, if that happens one more time, they lose a lane of Rax, and that was their moment. That was when they needed to break the high ground. And you talked about some of the disadvantages of Sand King in the early game, but in this particular moment, he was really useful because of the instant stun. After the sleep, they waited for it. It's is he going to pop his BKB? If he's not, then we're going to kill him again. And if he does, we're going to net him or isolate him or whatever they want to do. And you don't have that luxury if you don't have the instant stun.
Yeah, and running a Chen lineup is sort of similar to running a DK lineup. Like we saw Empire play, for example. You have to execute it very well, and if your first push at high ground fails and you die, and you get split pushed and lost to tier 3, that's going to hurt your momentum a lot.
Yeah, as a Dota player, you understand. You remember how many games you lost that way. It's never good.
Okay, complexity though. What are they going to change or do differently? Do you think after the pause to make sure that this doesn't go snowballing the other way?
Get a Hex ASAP. Either on Klinks, probably on Klinks because Queen already committed.
I think he needs damage though. Like if they go Hex on Klinks and Octarine on Queen, they don't have anyone damage. Like,
they both have like 600 gold right now, so both would take probably around the same time to actually try and build the Hex, and like you mentioned, they're lacking damage as well. So I think at this point, if you talk about getting the Hex on the Klinks, it might also be a huge problem that you Hex, but you don't have enough damage to actually kill the target.
Well, their options are what? Secure map control, which they can't really because no Hex. They can't really push high ground, they just failed. And the next is control 8, control the Roshan, but they're fighting against Sand King and Naga. So, I mean, all their options are not looking good.
I think they have too much to do right now because they haven't been doing enough the past 10 minutes. There were a lot of stuff that should have happened 10 minutes ago for them, but because they didn't address it and it all like stacks up right now, they have too much to do in too little time.
This is a perfect example of 3 minutes ago. They were doing all right. They could still win this game. 3 minutes later, suddenly one thing changes, and actually, you basically are all saying they should GG out now because there's almost nothing.
I mean, it's
heavy.
It's literally how bad it is. Like they're running an all-in, sort of all-in type of push lineup, and if this happens, it's just so demoralizing and hard to come back from. If you have this lineup.
It's also a fact that they died top after going for a BKB build on Klinks. When we saw Fear play Klinks, he would go for the full damage build early on, go Daedalus into MKB, into maybe BKB or Butterfly. So that's going to farm a lot faster and push a lot faster. Now, if you lose the team fights, which is what you built the BKB for, you're in a spot where it's really hard to recover.
But we need to keep in mind that complexity they never took the fight. That wasn't a fight. It was just EG catching them off guard. So I think, you know, if I were to captain that game, I think the best approach for complexity is to try it again. They need to try to end the game because if now it's bad, it's gonna get even worse. They're not gonna be able to do better.
I think they probably
the best they can get.
Don't have the luxury to wait for the Hex.
They need to go again and force EG to make a mistake. It was complexity doing a mistake. EG is not. They're not like gods. They can also fail at once, and if it happens, they're gonna take the game because they have a Chen and a Klinks with Distillators. They can take 2 racks in 30 seconds or in a minute. So they need to go there, force the issue again, and make sure that they play as a team. Here it was a 3 versus 5 and 2 guys trying to kill an enemy match, 3 versus 4 story.
They can't push again though. They have to like get all the Chen creeps, they have to push bottom lane out, they have to deal with AM split push. Like, there's too many issues. I think,
they have a lot of issues for sure right now. They have a lot of issues that they need to address.
Okay, cool. Unfortunately, I am getting news that the reason we're offline right now is due to a DDoS attack, which is a real shame. I do wish these people would find something better to do with their lives, but that's where we are right now. We are going to catch up with Casey, though, who's with some fans once more. Casey. Casey is just can't be trusted out there. Don't ever take your suits off when you're around Casey, because otherwise you're definitely going to be on camera. A lot of fun, a lot of colour actually at the International. Obviously my first time here, didn't really know what to expect. Was really just focused on the Dota and the teams and the players. But actually it's more about the fans as well, and the colourful cosplay that they're wearing, it's the flags that we've seen draped all over their bodies today as well, and real coming out supporting all of the players. And it never cease to amaze me how they stop everyone, all of us. We just can't go anywhere without getting stopped. It's fantastic. And the players obviously enjoy it as well. I was talking to Fly about it. He just can't even believe that there are fans, let alone that there are fans of him who come up and congratulate him. How do you feel about it all?
It's always very special because it's about meeting people that share your passion, and that's great. You know, it's not even about them being fans or you being someone they watch play. Sometimes it's just about sharing a passion, you know, and it's just great moments, honestly, and great people.
That's the best part about TI, is just seeing everyone so happy. And we're all here for one thing, is because of Dota, and is to watch great Dota. And you know, I might not know, like, you know, all these people that I've never met before, but it's really cool to have that one common bond. And it just makes me really warm and fuzzy inside to know that all of us came here together for this one great game.
It's also amazing to meet them in person, because, I mean, playing a lot of Dota, you know, social media, etc., you hear a lot from fans, and sometimes from people who are less fans as well, but, you know, when you meet someone in person, it just feels all that much greater, and you realize that there's a face to everyone.
Okay, talking about photo ops, I've just been told, actually, handed a nice message which says there is a photo op stage next to us, actually, right in the concourse area, at the analysis desk. It's really cool, because actually, if you take the photograph right, and I haven't done one yet, but if you take it right, it looks like you're inside the map. So make sure you head up here to take your photographs. And also, there's a photographer up there to take individual photographs and group photos, and Casey will be there at 11, it says, to take some footage and interview a few folks. Now, I reckon it's past 11. Tomorrow. I'm being told it's tomorrow. Good job I can read. So tomorrow at 11, make sure you're here upstairs in the concourse area and get your photographs taken inside the match. It's fantastic. It's lovely. I love little things like that. It's those small touches as well that make it so special. I'm actually really enjoying myself here. I know I've not been involved in Dota 2 for very long, and I have limited exposure to it, but I've loved the game. I love watching the game. And I'm amazed by how many people I talk to that are not players, actually. They actually just watch the game. And I was sort of thinking, well, maybe I'm in the minority, but it does seem that people genuinely enjoy watching these players play. It's fantastic.
I mean, a lot of the people that are just watching the game, they don't really have time anymore to play it as much, but they still enjoy watching, and they understand what's going on, and they follow the team. So it's a really good thing to have here.
Yeah.
I can relate fully to it. I mean, I watch Counter-Strike, I watch StarCraft, but
makes sense.
I don't play any of those games.
Sure.
I just watch them a lot.
Yeah.
So I can fully understand people who watch Dota.
Yeah. No, I'm bona fide, confessed esports junkie. So whatever's on right now, I will watch. And most of the time, that's, you know, it's Dota or it's League or it's Counter-Strike. Or did I just say that? No.
No,
I didn't hear anything.
For me, every time I watch Dota, I want to play.
Well, that's like it is for Counter-Strike for me, or Quake. You know, I'm like, because you see something and you think maybe you can do it better. That's the problem. Whereas I know I'm rubbish at Dota, so anything I watch is always going to be better than if I was playing.
Sometimes you get ideas.
Ben's not disagreeing with me here. I think there's something going on. Like, you've seen me play, haven't you?
I'm not.
No, you have, because otherwise you'd be disagreeing with me, surely.
I mean, sometimes you get ideas as well. You watch like someone else play, and you just want to immediately try it and improve on it.
Yeah.
So
and that's the same with any sport. That's why this is so cool. Because, you know, as a kid, back in 1850, I would actually watch football on black and white television and watch players, you know, running around doing things, really cool things. And I think, I can probably go out and do that. And it's no different. That's the modern version of it. It's Dota 2. It's whatever game you want to play.
And with football, you had to, you know, go out. It's going to take you a full day. With Dota, you just, you know, you walk 2 meters. You're probably even watching. You just tab, you know, and then play a game of Dota and try to.
And the entire day is gone.
Yeah, your entire day is gone, but whatever, it's worth it.
Yeah,
you know? And then just try to do what you just saw.
It's the old adage of, well, one more.
Yeah, it's the classic.
Just one more.
And you know that game.
One more.
you can't go to bed with a loss.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That's another, definitely a rule.
We've all played that game, and everyone's watching play that game where you're like, I'm done. All right, just one more, and it's the worst game of your life.
Yeah. And Winter's right. You then have to play another one because you can't go to bed on a loss. That's not right.
It's never worth it.
This is how you lose like 300 MMR in a night. You don't do this. You just go to bed when you have to go to bed.
I'd be quite happy to start the night with 300 MMR.
Right, that's the point. That's good. Oh, you're that bad. I didn't thought it was possible.
I thought I would try and give you that one to throw at me, but you didn't come back with it.
No,
you could have used that one.
I'm a good guy.
So getting back to this game, where do we think? I mean, are we absolutely sure? Is there anything we can, you know, compLexity fans can maybe grasp onto and hope that they can hold on to this? Do they need to literally just take away from EG and just sit back now and farm, get the items that they need and then start pushing? Or are you really at a loss to figuring out how they can come back?
I just think they totally lost control of the game. Whatever happens now is not in their hands anymore.
Yeah, they were in control, they're not anymore. It's a very good way to put it.
First objective is like to establish vision again and make sure the enemy does not have vision, because right now EG are stronger, which is worrisome. Only that, because EG are definitely stronger late game as well. So you need to get vision so that they cannot use the fact that they're stronger.
It's just any play that they make is like really risky. Like trying to sneak a roach is super risky. Trying to like set up a trap for anti-mage, that's a long shot. Like if you hook shot and then like hope you can find the place that he blinks to with all the other people. Like all these are just very low percentage play.
Yeah, but I think in their position they need to take a risk.
Yes, I agree.
Otherwise, I mean, nothing's going to happen for them.
What do you think they learned from this game? It's a best of 3 after all. They can take learnings. They can move on to.
There's a reason why teams aren't leaning towards Chen right now. It's just because it's so risky. You lose one push, you lose all your creeps, and then you take 5 minutes to gather up your whole team, push up all the lanes, get to your T3, and then by that time, Chen's heyday is already over. I mean, I like that they did go for it, but when the best teams aren't picking it and they used to pick it, there's a reason why they stopped.
I feel it's also the issue with playing against anti-mage, because one mistake like this costs so much. You know, what did they do wrong this game? They played, sure, itemization wasn't the best, but it doesn't necessarily lose. It can lose you a game that's even, but a game that you're crushing, you could get away with it. But here they did one mistake that was, you know, just splitting a bit, trying to deal with the anti-mage split push, not in the best way, and then suddenly we're actually saying that, all right, because you're in compLexity fan, you're like, they just lost a couple of heroes. I mean, EG, they got 9 kills before, they got all the towers. How can they lose the game because they did a mistake? Well, that's anti-mage for you. It's really hard to deal with the hero if you're not fully prepared.
Okay. Maga, anything to add?
No, like, Mad pretty much nailed it there. The reason that it's so detrimental to lose just one fight. And now they also have the pressure that next time they go high ground, they don't have a tier 3 tower. If anti-mage is already farming their jungle and pushing down there, they have no time before they have to react. And against a Naga Song, against Winter Wyvern, Sand King, these heroes can really catch you out. So they're in a tough spot, compLexity.
Okay.
And draft-wise, if I can add something, it's as a drafter, it's somehow hard because they went for a pick that's quite hard to execute because it's up to them. If they do a mistake, they're going to pay for it. But on the other hand, if you look at it, they were in control thanks to this because they were on the offensive. And I feel like if you're compLexity, you want to play versus EG, winning is not impossible, but it's going to be called an upset, you know, you're not the favorite. Then taking control of the game like this is always good. It's risky, but it's good.
Okay. Do you know what? Why don't we check in with Casey while we're on a little bit of a break from the game, because she's been checking out some artwork. Astonishing, absolutely, genuinely astonishing level of artwork. You just look at it and it's just dreamy. I was actually fixated by the stuff that they produce down there. And again, just another example of the community at large, which I'm learning more and more about every day that I'm here, that it's not just about the players or the teams or the fans or you guys.
It's about hats.
It's about
hats.
Hats.
Yeah.
Someone told me about that. Yeah, it is about hats. But genuinely, though, those drawings at Pavia, wow. They are so good. I'm actually going to go down there later and see if I can, buy any of these posters because they're just fantastic.
I can really relate to that second guy. He's like, I worked a full-time job and then I did the same thing. I worked a full-time job and then I started streaming for like 4 or 5 hours every night. And then I was like, oh, I really like this. And then you have to make a leap of faith and kind of hope that everything will work out. And you're pretty sure that it will, but there's a small chance that it isn't. So I admire that guy.
Yeah, no,
I'm very lucky.
I would choose following your passion for less money than earning good money and going for something that makes you bored. I would definitely be an advocate of that. Done that in the past as well. What about you guys? What have you enjoyed on the peripheral of the actual matches, but all the other cool stuff that's going on around?
It's just meeting with people. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but it's really cool to just walk around and say hi to as many people as possible. It's a great feeling between the games, or even just go down and enjoy watching some of the games when we're not chained down here. I know you and Merlini,
we are actually physically. We're restricted in every way. They do let you out every now and again, and we let you go and have a rest and some food, I think, in your jail. But other than that, you're returned. But yeah, me and Mitt, we're stuck here. This is where we slept last night. You had a good night's sleep here?
That's my next job.
Yeah.
Are we physically changed? Come on. It's fun. It's Dota. That's what we live for.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not all as young as we once were, unfortunately.
Especially me.
Well, wait, did you feel like I was going to go on the offensive then? Did you get that in before I... Okay, but we've all been there. We've all been young and had dreams and what have you. What did you dream of in terms of Dota and esports? What did you dream of when you were younger?
I was just driven by competition. It's just you start, you're super bad. I remember my first game, I was some juggernaut that even I didn't even understand you could craft items. I was running around with a recipe and with some, and then I was just dying to creeps, because I was just tanking the whole wave, and my teammates were like, "Can you stop feeding? You're actually ruining the game." And I was like, "I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Like just hide, be sneaky." And then I spent the whole game level 1 in the jungle between trees, and what are you doing now? Like, I'm not feeding and I'm doing good. I've been alive for like the past 10 minutes or whatever.
That's what I did in my first game.
Oh, yeah. So
my friends literally told me, just pick techies, go to the trees and do your thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
It actually is, and you know where I started to put my mines at the start? I just mined next to my towers because I thought I was actually defending the towers.
But don't make fun of us because if we actually...
No, I'm not. I'm definitely... No, we're all in the same boat here.
That's going to be your role in our team, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's you.
I would not make fun of you because seeing as we're in, Dota confession right now, I'm going to come clean with my first game, okay?
All right.
I spent 20 minutes trying to find the second shop. What do you mean there's a second shop? Where the hell is it on this map? Could not find it. I was trying to finish it. I can't remember what I was trying to buy, but whatever I was trying to buy, the finishing item was in the... I'm like, I don't even know where this shop is. Someone give me a map.
So you run around?
Yeah, I was running around.
Go back to town and...
It literally was running around. It must be on the other side. They must have made it harder. That makes sense, right? So I go to the other side, and then, of course, I die every time. And I'm just getting really frustrated. Like, why do I keep getting killed? And they're like, please stop feeding.
The others are like, why is he going to the other space? Probably thought it was their shop, in their base, their fountain.
The revelation after 3 games of realising that I had one on my side was genuinely like a halo. I was like, oh, this is brilliant. So we're in Dota confession now. Anything you want to share with us?
Yeah, my first games, I think I was anti-mage, and I was like, man, I keep getting harassed back to life. I was like, I don't want to walk all the way back to town. I thought Perseverance was the best item ever. I was like, I get to stay in lane forever. I get 3 damage. It only takes up 1 slot, and you get like 3 Perseverance.
He was already that guy harassing the support. Just go bring me a salve. I'm sitting there. Just
okay.
I don't want to walk.
Okay, let's end the confession right now before we get into too much trouble. We were all young once, of course, and we all made those mistakes. But there is one gentleman who is very young at this international. He's just 16. And he stands on the verge of becoming the first player in esports history to go over $500,000. He could even make it a millionaire by the end of the tournament. That man is Sumail, and he has an amazing story coming from the streets of Pakistan. Sumail there from Evil Geniuses. It's a terrific story. It's one of those spine-tingling stories that just raises the goosebumps on your arms every time you listen to it and see it. And I don't know if anyone can relate to that. It's very difficult, obviously, because of the background that he's come from. But has anyone got anything similar they can kind of relate to?
He played Dota for more than half his life.
Yeah.
There's only a few people in competitive Dota that can say that. It is pretty insane.
Yeah.
It's very impressive.
And in terms of the way he's come through, and you know, fought against the odds just to even play the game is incredible.
Man, I only started playing the game when I was like 17, so it's amazing.
A year after he's here at the International. It's incredible. I was going to also mention the fact that you in the French scene are looked up to, very admired by the French scene, obviously, and people look up to you as the sort of elder statesman almost now, as the man that they can get experience from. Fear is obviously another man that's got a similar role as well. And Sumail having that kind of experience and that kind of mentality in his team has to help tremendously.
Only a player like Fear can actually, you know, help Sumail grow as a player, because Charlie, the EG's manager, he brought a really good point, which was it is very important in Dota to find the right balance between self-confidence and being open to criticism, and both clash all the time. You know, you're like, if you're not confident in yourself, which means what you did was good, but you know, the environment or whatever, you need that confidence to actually be a good player. But on the other hand, yeah, and then when you talk to a player like Fear, or a player that you consider at least as good as you, but more experienced for sure, then you listen to him and you put aside all your ego, all your confidence, and you're like, well, he's better than I am, he knows better, I'm just gonna listen to him, and all of us as Dota players, we arrived where we arrived and as far as we got, only because we were open to criticism, and that's the only way to improve it, honestly. And everyone that's very not open-minded, very close to remarks, they don't get anywhere.
How does he? How do you think he takes all of this in? You know, this media attention, adoration of fans, giant stadium, $18 million on the line, and he's 16 years old. It's very hard for me to comprehend what must go through his mind. But he seems, outwardly anyway, from the small amount I know of him, that actually he's a very confident young man, but also has some humility about him as well.
Well, it's hard for me to say because I don't know him personally, at least not really well. But the good thing about Dota is that it requires so much focus and so much preparation that you don't really get the time to, you know, look at the crowd, like in-game, you look at the crowd, watch. Now they get it because there's a pulse, so that might be a factor. But usually you don't, you just focus, you know, you come, you play your game, you do your best, you win, you lose, end of story.
Okay, anything to add to that, Melanie?
I mean, yeah, for Sumail, I think, or for a lot of Dota players, it's about a matter of respect. You're not going to listen to anyone that you don't have respect for, and this is why we generally view like the hot-headed players or the ones that are just really immature. They don't really grow in a Dota sense because they can never take advice from people. So I think that Sumail respects Fear, and that's why he's such a good role model and such a good leader and a mentor.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, attitude is more important than the raw talent that you have. Like, having the right attitude is extremely important.
Because we were saying yesterday, most of the players at the top end are kind of at 99% capacity anyway, and it's just that last little bit, and this is part of it, isn't it?
Skill is like a requirement, and if you don't have it, then there's no point to even trying. But it's not going to make the difference at all, because all the players here are very good, and sure, it might make the difference in one of two moves, but it's the overall attitude, the communication. Dota is mostly about this, at this level at least.
Okay. Age not being a barrier, of course. Where do we get the next Sumail from? Where does that come from? I mean, it's got to be a conveyor belt.
Well, what was interesting to me about Sumail is that he's been playing since he's 6.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that, oh, I can just play Dota and get really good, be at TI in a year. But all these players have been playing, I would say, like minimum 6-7 years. That's like very, very minimum. And Sumail's been playing for 10 years. He's 16, but he's still been playing since he's 6.
He's old man. He's an old man.
Yeah, old man Dota already. That's brilliant. But the other thing is where you can have players from compLexity coming from Heroes of Newerth, for instance, and then coming into Dota 2, similar aspects to it, but different game.
I mean,
and still doing really well.
I mean, Heroes of Newerth started as a complete one-to-one copy, and then they added more from Dota. So it's a different game, but it plays out exactly the same. It's just a different environment. So I think if you're really good in Heroes of Newerth, you can easily make the switch. Yeah.
It's also it strengthens the point of the importance of skill, regardless to the rest. So those players that come from Haunt, for example, well, they already mastered communication. They mastered, you know, how to manage a team, how to interact with your teammates, how to handle losses, you know, how to react to wins, all this that you learn by losing and losing again and losing, because winning doesn't teach you so much.
Yeah, does that mean that the same applies to other MOBAs, do you think?
Yeah, it does. Every time you lose, you get stronger. If you're a competitor, or you just quit. But if you keep on playing, you just get stronger.
But I mean, in the sense that, you know, other MOBAs can be played, that maybe they can come and play Dota 2. Do you feel that there's still that ability for them?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe there are some, like they can't play the game because of some mechanical issues. I mean, it might happen, but I don't think it's the hardest part. I think in a year you can probably get really good skill-wise, and there's room for improvement, obviously. But you have what it takes to compete at a very decent level, I say.
I think a lot of it comes down to mentality as well, which is why we see a lot of players both from CS and from Dota be good at the other game. Like we have S4, who was global elite in CS, and the CS players in NIP played Dota and have like 5.5 KM or something like.
Forest in
if you have the mentality,
Forest in NIP, I think is probably the most talented video game I've ever known in my life. He seems to be stupidly good at everything he does. It's really annoying, actually. But you're right, some players just have that ability, don't have that pro mindset, as you will.
And they also
play almost anything
know how to get better, you know?
Yeah.
How do you improve in a game? What's the right mindset? What do you look at, you know? It's the most important thing.
Yeah, and then Sumail also added on the practice regime. He's quite happy to sit there for 9 hours. He treats that as practice, as a regimen. He has to sit down and do that. It's not always easy. He doesn't always enjoy those hours that he has to learn new heroes or do things that he perhaps doesn't enjoy doing. He just wants to play for fun, but he realizes that actually that's going to help him improve and become a better player.
And mentioning to what you said there, like spending 9 hours something for practice, some people think that, oh, just because I played, you know, 8 hours in a row and 9 hours in a row, I should automatically get good. That's not really true. You need to actually think of it as practice and handle it that way. Criticize yourself. That is like the most important thing. And be open to just finding ways to improve.
Interestingly, where do you go from? There are a number of players here who have become legends basically in the game this year and previous years, and they've become legends based on things that they've almost changed within the game. You know, things that no developer could ever understand why they would do what they did, and these guys have figured them out. You know, and they've done that, and they've become signature builds or signature heroes that these particular players have done. How do you transition to that level of meta and actually start creating the game, if you know what I mean?
I mean, you have to be confident on yourself as well. Like, if I would take Blade Mail, like Prophet, for example, because no one actually does that, like for quite some time, and in pubs, people starting to use it, and like pro players look at the build and they feel like this is actually really good. And it becomes a thing. So I think the first step is to be really confident about your own ability and have a lot of trust on your mindset.
Yeah, because I mean, some players are very creative, others are studious, and they will look at things that are going on and actually pick from that and make their builds or choices of heroes and their picks and bans. But others will actually literally completely break the meta and change everything involved in it and make the developers, make iceberg probably go mad actually every time he has to go. Damn it, guys! Stop breaking the game. I've got to go and fix something else, or I've got to change this, or I've got to change that. But that's amazing. That's a whole new level of pro player.
But that's why Dota is such a beautiful game, because the possibilities are endless. Like with the heroes, the spell usage, how you skill, how you place your lanes, the strategy you go for. You know, you think things in Dota, for example. Now we see it's very classic to pull or to stack camps. It wasn't classic back in the days. No one would stack ever. No one thought about it. You know, stuff like this that actually changed the game completely. Then the game it's completely different. You know, you had Clockworks, they would go for Rocket. They would never skill cogs. Now they start skilling cogs because one dude, maybe he misclicked, I don't even know. You know, he clicked the cogs and then he blocked the creep. He was like, that's pretty good. You know, and then it became a thing. But it's always like this in Dota.
Yeah.
And there's also, you know, one phenomenon which is when people start playing a hero a lot, then they start playing it really well and better than we used to play it. So we start understanding, you know, the complete potential of the hero, the full potential of it.
I mean, Dota is a game where it's built around things like this. I've played it for roughly 12 years or something. I don't know exactly the date I started, but I remember when denying became a thing. Like, just think about that for a second. No one thought about, oh, I can kill my own creeps. You don't get any gold or experience.
Yeah.
Like, you used to be able to deny from full HP. Because no one ever thought about that. Then suddenly the developer back then, I believe it was Guinsu who was making the game back then, he just like, oh, we need to make something against this because it's obviously overpowered. So it would make it so you get hexed when you tried to deny your creep when it was full HP. So that was like a temporary solution. This also worked for teammates because you could attack your teammates, not just when they were poisoned. So Dota has like come a long way, and all of it is kind of through the type of innovations that you have.
That's why you can BKB and kill your own.
Exactly. You could BKB. I did it as Lycan. BKB, kill your teammates because you couldn't get hexed when you were magic immune, of course.
That sometimes
mind equals blown now.
It might be useful. I can think of situations where I wish I could kill my teammates.
Only if we're playing as a 5 here, though, and I would be the one you were killing. Pretty sure that's
probably.
That
I'm sorry, I misclicked, Paul.
No, I would actually probably agree with you as well. Now, please get rid of me from this game because I'm actually dragging this down. It's interesting. We might. I think we should probably get together at some point and play a game just for fun.
My pleasure.
And maybe record it. We'll see. We're going to take a quick break on the analysis desk for now and head over to Casey, who's down on the concourse.
Very close one.
Really? Really now? Wow. We don't have any pants on over here, no. That's why you only see the top half of us. Thank you, Casey, very much. Very entertaining as ever down there on the concourse, and also all of the fans as well getting involved. Never, ever, ever lane together. Love it.
That was a great one.
Yeah, it was really good.
I can actually tell among us who is not ever going to lane together.
Right, I'll get my jacket now. Yeah, I'll get stuck with Seb, no doubt. I'll have to carry Seb through a lane.
You're going to be the carry on the lane.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to support you.
I thought you were going to be nice to Seb. What happened?
Oh, yeah, no, sorry, no. Today was nice day, right?
So you're
Tomorrow's
supporting.
back to... Yeah, I'll be your support, yeah.
It's an odd day.
Yeah, it's an odd day?
Yeah.
We're fine then, we're good today.
Okay.
Yeah. I gave you a pass on predictions as well.
Thank you.
So we're all good.
So far, I've been...
You've been 100%
on point, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Every
You've
game I
been brilliant.
predicted.
Yeah, so
happened.
far today, everything you've predicted has come true and has been 100% correct. You've been fantastic today, Seb.
Thank you very much.
Is it too much, or do you want me to back off a bit?
Honestly, it feels pretty good.
Okay, right, good.
It's enough.
Generally, the fans here are awesome.
Yeah.
They've got so many different talents as well. I mean, you know, I actually thought Casey was getting interviewed herself on the concourse. When we went down there, I mean, you know, she had the axes and she's getting, and then there's questions coming back from the audience. This is brilliant. I love this. This is fantastic. Let's just recap the brackets as well where we are today, because we do have a lot of matches to get through. We are just waiting for EG compLexity to get back underway. And as you can see, LGD CDEC through to the semi-finals of the upper bracket from yesterday. Empire and Cloud9, of course, put down into the lower bracket. Today we focus on Evil Geniuses versus compLexity Gaming and Team Secret versus eHome. First time we're going to see Team Secret as well today, in the main event, that is. Of course, they had the group stage last week. Let's talk a little bit about that match and do a little bit of an advanced preview, as it were, between those two as we go through the lower bracket as well on screen right now. So, yesterday, Empire dropping down. They'll play MVP Phoenix. Cloud9 dropping down to play Vici Gaming, who knocked out former winners Na'Vi and Virtus Pro and Invictus Gaming are the last two teams to go into the bottom half of the bracket. They'll, of course, wait for the two matches to finish today in the upper bracket before we figure out who they're playing. But we will look forward to the Secret versus eHome game. First time we get a chance to see Secret in the arena and playing in the main event. There's been so much hype. I don't think it would matter whether you knew what Dota 2 was. You'd probably know that Team Secret are pretty good at the game because there's been so much written about them over the last 3 months.
I think he said his girlfriend actually started cheering for Team Secret. And
really?
And she has no idea what
Dota. And I was like, are you
That's
coming?
brilliant.
You want to, you know, because she was there like the whole day yesterday, and she was like, I'm going to come watch Team Secret, of course. I'm like, what do you mean, of course? So the hype is real around Team Secret.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. Yeah, it's been very widespread. I know, you know, friends in other games have all been talking about Secret this, Secret that, Secret. What is it that makes them such a fantastic team? I know individually they're fantastic, but what is it that makes them such a successful team? Who wants to take on that one?
They're legends. I mean, I know I've said it yesterday, but they are actually, like, you have Poppy, you have S4, you have RTZ, you have Zai, you have Kuroki, like, is there one player you can't really, you know, is there one player you can forget and mention? Like, all of them. But I'm really looking forward to see. I think if I had to pick two favorites for winning two TIs, it would be Poppy and S4, both of them. So, and they're in the same team, which makes it easier for me to predict.
Yes.
So,
does make it much easier. Yeah. Well, we've talked about the whole trying to do a double and win another championship, obviously at the international. So. That, I think, is a strong possibility this year with the players that we've got left and the teams that they're in as well. So, other than that, Arteezy, you know, what can you say about the man? He's outspoken. He does say what he thinks,
yep.
But at the same time, he might just be the brightest star in the game as well.
I think the way he plays the carry speaks for itself. He's like one of the best at the current meta. He's very efficient. He participates a lot. He pressures a lot, and he knows his limits most of the time. So he's been making so many plays that normally you wouldn't see it from a carry because he's just that confident and he knows his limitations very well.
In a sporting angle, there aren't many large icons that can kind of compete with the likes of, you know, thinking down the years, Michael Jordan, for instance. Any of the big basketball stars, Kobe Bryant would spring to mind as well as being one of those legendary players. We're starting to form those seeds within Dota 2 now of those kind of players. Someone, I can't remember where the quote comes from, but someone told me that within 3 years, Arteezy will be worth more than $40 million. And I'm inclined to agree with them. I really am, because he could actually be the superstar of Dota 2. Any disagreement?
He was considered as one of the best, if not the best, mid laner. Now he's playing carry. He's probably one of the best carry in the tournament. I mean, what can you ask for that guy?
Their opponents will be joining them very shortly from compLexity Gaming as well. Chance for them to have had their break and get back into now. Obviously, we're not had an update just yet on the issues, but hopefully we will fairly soon. Those guys are going to get themselves settled in there. We'll continue to talk about them and Secret as well. Interesting, of course, that RTZ's got that link with his old teammates. We heard PPD talking about that earlier on. I get the sense that he obviously wasn't very happy, because it's sort of like, it feels like you've been betrayed when you lose a couple of teammates, especially when you've put so much faith in each other in that 5. But sometimes it's better for you. Sometimes it works out better. They would never have found Sumail, for instance, and brought him into the team. So maybe things are okay now.
Yeah, I mean, as he said early, they're friends, but when it comes to actually playing against each other, they definitely want to beat each other even more. Yeah. I think there's definitely going to be some salt when you stick together.
top is missing.
Regeneration.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And Clinks, I think. That's like, they need those three heroes together to bring down the Anti-Mage right now. So Fear is playing with a lot of confidence. As soon as he knows where Clinks is, as Matt pointed out quite a while ago, then he's feeling pretty safe with pushing. So that's the state of the game right now. All in all, though, I would say, you know, it might look like an even game just from the graphs, but just if you look at the way the game is flowing and who's ultimately better primed for late game, I think EG are feeling pretty comfortable with their position in the game.
Yeah, they're going to be feeling fantastic about this, and especially when Fear is able to get away with wasting so much time of complexity. For the last minute to minute and a half, they smoked up inside their jungle, walked around the Dire Ancients, walked down the bottom lane, chasing after a ghostly Fear, who then blinks into the trees, TPs himself away to safety. At complexity, it feels like they're running out of time when these things happen, as EG prolongs this game more and more, and Fear gets bigger and bigger. I don't know where they're meant to go from here.
Yeah, I'm curious what complexity's read is on the game. It was discussed quite a bit by the panel, the Octarine core pickup by Queen of Pain that I was also uncertain about. It kind of says to me that they're reading the game differently than what most of us are, at least, you know, me as well as the panel. I would say generally in this kind of situation you want to try to itemize against the anti-mage rather than just itemize for, you know, these lower cooldowns and just team fight potential.
It seems like they're actually itemizing for the push up. Like,
yes, that's what I was thinking.
What's SwindleMelonzz on this cloak? He's got a casual cloak on him. Is it meant to go into more?
I think well, that's a good question. They might feel like they need a pipe to high ground.
For now, let's look at the fight. There's going to be Clinks attacking into Sumail. 4 hits, going to be 5 to get the kill with the epicenter from Universe. Right up a complexity with the hand of God as well to make, repairing so much the damage. Now Fear join the fight. They will be able to curse up on the cliffs. They control him perfectly. Universe coming back in for another burrow strike, but he's looking for more. Misses on the burrow, but Fear still looking for his kills as Song of the Siren will stop this, actually allowing the send back. That was Moonmeander who got back to base, but ZfreeK and SwindleMelonzz will not be so lucky. The Mana Void just ripping apart their life. A triple kill for Fear as evil geniuses, after pause number, I don't know however many, they were able to find a couple of kills. They kick back and they get a hell of a lot in this team fight.
They're going to force at least one buyback as well. There's no way complexity hold this with a Clockwork and a Tusk against the pushing speed that this Anti-Mage brings out right now. So I'm guessing they'll buy back the Clock. I was guessing Clinks, but looks like they'll prioritize saving Clinks' money for now and try to get him into another carry item so he can actually fight here. It's currently being crested up by AOI. It is a problem that complexity needs to
the Sonic
address.
Wave hits Universe, but Fear's going to work. He actually got a couple of ashes out there too. The snowball through from Fly, just buying some space apart from SwindleMelonzz. Not where he wants to be. He's point blank with Sumail, who Laguna blades him down. Also Tusker on the silence, and now Clockwork will buy back. Hookshot is available to set up clean lines. SwindleMelonzz was in front of him. As they glimmer cape, they need some exit kills to make this worth it, but really, can they even chase it? EG's already out. Complexity, so many buybacks, so much money out the drain.
So what happened all in all here? They bought Clock, Quap, they killed... Who did they kill in the fight in the middle? I think they found like 1 kill, or maybe 2.
They got Sumail. No, they didn't. That's right, because he just turned around and killed him. Did they get anything?
I'm trying to remember. I think they might have killed PPD, but that would be... No, he was alive as well.
Yeah, he was sitting on the back. Like after they got the curse off on the Clinks, the fight was over.
Oh yeah, Clinks got the first kill. He did kill Sumail, but Sumail hit a lot of Bloodstone charges.
Hence he came back instantly, and now we make sense. Now we also like unfold our brains. Jumping after Sumail, Shadow Strike is dropping him low. The Sonic Wave will be committed, hitting both PPD as well as Sumail, but again another good Line Strike array, but this won't stop the Clinks from getting both attacks. But PPD holds himself close and is able to survive the hookshot also on target. Owie, fancy footwork going left and right. Now that's done. Gonna stop Moonmeander from actually TPing out. This doesn't allow him to come back while Fear attacking the base of compLexity. They're losing their bottom racks. Moonmeander, he is gonna go down. They just focus him at the same time. Clinks gets back in on the lead. They still haven't killed off this Clockwork. The Hand of God now going to work. Owie will ensnare. And Moonmeander, he survived for a very, very long time, but how much longer can he really be here? The illusions are killing him. They glimmer cape him up. Where's your vision? It is going to be there as the Burrow Strike from Universe does kick in, but he's force-staffed away from the Clink. Sandstorming to avoid the last attack as well. How much damage was done on the bottom? A lot. The melee ranks is gone for compLexity.
Yeah, Fear is playing it safe here. I think he might even have had a shot at killing swindlemelons, which would have given him the barracks, the ranged barracks, as well as even an attempt at maybe going for pressure mid or forcing rotations back earlier from compLexity here, but Queen of Pain pretty much used her entire mana, which is about 2,000, so Anti-Mage's ultimate hurts a hell of a lot. Fear plays it safe, it doesn't overextend, it could have backfired with some sort of rotation there, and he just...
Well, Fear thought he could just slip in and take out Roshan, but Blink's having a closer look at the action, and Fear trying to go back into it again. Having the full Abyssal Blade got so much damage. The Sigil as well is trying to have a bit of a peek for Tusker. And you'll see PPD inside the pit, but it looks like Fear's just had enough for the moment. Goes up, farms up the Agents, he could return.
What an annoying Sigil. PPD keeps trying to find it. Now he finally wards and it disappears at the same time.
So at this point for compLexity, you know, EG's got interest in Roshan. You can scan it with both Sigil, Clockwork Rocket, you should be able to know what's going on. Don't think EG can kill it fast enough that the Clockwork wouldn't see what's happening. Do you try and contest this, or do you just push control the lanes and hope you can take the fight when it comes back to your base later on?
I think you kind of have to contest, because if they wait and they give Anti-Mage an Aegis, he's hard enough for them to kill once. Twice is going to be.
But at the same time, you're about to go into like Song of the Siren as well as Epicenter. In fact, that's exactly what Owie does. They ensure Roshan, the Aegis ball at the hands of Fear at the same time. Moonmeander, he hookshot it up so far, he's completely isolated from the rest of his team. He's never fully even get up on the high ground near the Dire Rangers. Snowball in, they go after Owie. At the same time, Fear locking out swindlemelonzz and blasting him with the Mana Void. It's a double kill for Fear. The Aegis, the Immortal, may trigger here, but the Clinks will end up dying too. Another triple kill for Fear as EG. They even get the Burrow Strike on Fly. He was TPing out the last moment. He'll Glimmer Cape, but this means the Fly can't get back to base. EG can just go broke, take that mid-racks.
Yeah, this game is almost over at this point. compLexity, I feel like they had to go for that, but the execution just wasn't there. They didn't get the Sonic Wave off. I think swindlemelonzz was considering whether he should solo ult Fear or not, because he actually had the chance to kill Fear with Sonic Wave, but only hitting him. I mean, it's easy to say in hindsight, but he probably very much regrets right now not going for that, as Fear pretty much single-handedly just killed him off, and this is going to be 2 lanes of racks. They could go look for tier 4s. They're 5-on-4. They know Queen of Pain didn't have buyback, so...
Just give it a crack. That's all they can really do right now. compLexity, point blank smoke and Fear. Well, he gets attacked a little bit, and they do back out a little. But at the same time, EG, if compLexity chase this too far, they'll just turn and burst at the same time Fly, walking straight past the EG lineup. Yeah, they've had enough. They're getting their next items up. A full Aghanim Scepter now afforded up for Sumail.
Yeah, this is an issue, like, to say the least. This Agzol takes more than half his health when he doesn't have Death Pact activated. I guess he just Death Packed again, so we'll... Guessing what's his health at? 1929? It's about half. So just a couple swings from Fear with the Abyssal and then the Laguna and he's dead. The counterplay potential for compLexity is very limited. They can snowball, that's it. Because the Glimmer Cape doesn't counter Sumail either anymore now, which is another really important aspect of this pickup situation. Now, the item that we feel like compLexity should have had a long time ago
on Universe.
It's going to be on the Sand King instead. By the way, it's ridiculously farmed in this game for the time. He has a Blink, Veil, Force Staff, Hex, Tranquils, minute 38.
He's the fourth highest net worth on the map.
That's just what happens when you get 2 lanes of racks. It's so much gold.
And such a crazy combo too, because like we not very rarely, we've actually been seeing more of it at TI5, but the Veil of Discord being picked up for him at the start. That epicenter of his, he's got 13 assists. Every time he jumps in Universe, he's fighting multiple heroes with it. And just letting EG get control of the fight, even if you do get the mech as well as the hook shot, mech as well as the hand got off, the damage now isn't going to be repaired, and with extra control, the clinks can be done, and even the Queen of Pain, no BKB. Whenever he jumps in, he will always be able to lock down SwindleMelonzz, which means any mage can go on, deal with other heroes if he needs to. As now, this almost looks like a bit of a throw all the cards in the pot and hope you pick up the ace play from compLexity.
It's the only thing they can do now. If they sit back and wait in their base, they're just giving EG full map control and they'll just push down and take the tier 2. They can just play at whatever pace they want. They could even wait for the next Roshan, which should be theirs at that point in time. But yeah, compLexity are not really going to find anything here. And EG are looking for the same kind of play, but they're on opposite sides of the map, so...
EG will just take the tier 2 tower. Remember, this is all they got to do to win the game. Like, get up into the megas, and then majority of it, the creep wave will take care of. Fear's also finished up a full Monkey King bar, so he is, I'm not going to say 6-slotted, but he is exactly where you'd want to be as any mage 40 minutes into this game. But now...
the crest is like the only issue right now. Itemizes against it. I think this is the correct pickup this time around. He doesn't need defensive items right now, because the way compLexity has itemized, they're not threatening him that much.
Yep. He can do whatever he wants, really.
This is like pretty much the most glass cannon build you will ever see on an anti-mage. He does not have a BKB, a heart, or a butterfly in a 6-item build. This is very unusual.
But he can get away with it.
Yes, that's the whole point. He can get away with it. Even should they catch him, they still have coL Embrace, they still have Hammer Capes, Force Staff, Sand King,
Song of the Siren.
I mean, it's
the biggest control of all up against one of the cores doesn't even have a BKB, the double power strike from Universe, and True Wars were down, so they saw him, but then the curse is over on Queen of Pain. You also throw to a double life array, Fear comes in, SwindleMelonzz, it took 2 hits to kill him off, and this will be EG ravaging compLexity. Even with a Sonic Wave, Fear just jumps in deep for 3 hits to kill off coL.ZfreeK, more fire strike supports from Universe. TP's making sure that Fear just cannot be touched. He moved back up to play objective-based gaming, finish off the racks, while Moonmeander might be moving back here. Sumail not affected by these cogs. SwindleMelonzz back to front line, but again Universe, a double fire strike, and well, they just keep going to work. Where is AM? He's gone for a bit of a wander. He'll come back to the front lines, and this is when the game practically ends. Fly is currently hexed up, stunned, burrowed, and killed off. This is it when SwindleMelonzz dies. It is a full rack. It's mega creeps for Evil Geniuses here in game number 1, but compLexity, it's like they're trying to send a message for game number 2. We won't give up to the bitter end. Just keep fighting. And then Laguna Blade thinks, well, maybe fighting was not the greatest idea in the world. Fly keeps trying to return out, but with the Yule Scepter up, the stun will follow in, and Fly locks, Burrow spiked, and this should be, yes, Glimmer caping back past the tier 4 towers and sent back by the Chen. compLexity just won't say die.
I think EG's going to make them right now.
Force it.
Their options are very limited. Going to snowball in Chen aggressively as a distraction. Very unusual play.
They're all dead. This is going to be the fountain dying. compLexity refusing to the bitter end to submit to Evil Geniuses. But the game says it's over. Game number 1. It only took roughly 2 hours, but we do have game number 1 over with Evil Geniuses. It was a rough start for them, Sind.
Yeah, compLexity's early game strategy just really worked out the way they imagined. Great rotations, good pressure on the map. Then they kind of let go of the pressure a bit, and I think, as we mentioned a couple of times, a big part of it was just their itemization that allowed